Chapter 371. Fang Zhao? A gentle female voice rang out from behind. Those who had been discussing turned around, and their eyes lit up. The newcomer had long, curly blonde hair and a white embroidered dress. The silver pendant on it gave off a strong sense of design. Elegant and graceful. However, when they saw who this person was, Ji Polin and the others pretended to be quails. This famous Huangzhou movie star, the winner of the Golden Series Best Actress 2 years ago, was walking over with a smile. Anna was in her 40s, but in the new era, she was still considered young. Plus, she had taken care of herself well, so when she stood next to Fang Zhao, they looked no different from peers. Anna nodded slightly at Ji Polin and the others, then turned to Fang Zhao with the warmth of a senior looking at a junior. "You can call me senior sister. My husband, Lan Jing, is Mo Lang's last disciple. My own knowledge of music theory was taught by him, and I've also studied under old master Mo for a period of time. Our situation is about the same, so you can call me senior sister." Anna's tone was amiable. At the same time, she was telling Fang Zhao that she and Lan Jing had put in a lot of effort behind the red carpet arrangements to bring Fang Zhao along. Fang Zhao was still a newbie in the film industry. This was his first time attending such an event, so he was at a disadvantage. If the atmosphere on the red carpet wasn't enthusiastic enough, it would be awkward. Venerable Mo didn't want that to happen, so she had come to bring her junior brother along and get on Mo Lang's good side. Her husband, Lan Jing, had run into some trouble during his global concert, and it had been Mo Lang who had stepped in to resolve it. When she had found out that Mo Lang had accepted another disciple after so many years, Anna had made up her mind. She had immediately sought out the organizers to discuss partnering up with Fang Zhao. Before coming over today, she had promised Mo Lang, "Teacher Mo, don't worry. I will take good care of little junior brother." When Anna arrived, Ji Polin and the others tactfully said their goodbyes and left. "Hello, senior sister," Fang Zhao said with a smile. When he had heard Lan Jing's name, he had guessed that Venerable Mo had been helping him behind the scenes. "I heard you arrived early, but I haven't seen you around. Did you go out to have fun? Corral has a lot of specialty products. Some of them are only sold during the annual film festival. You can buy a lot to bring back. Some of the specialties here can't be bought in other places, and they aren't sold online." Anna intended to chat about something more relaxing so that Fang Zhao wouldn't get nervous. For the sake of old master Mo and Lan Jing, she was taking good care of this junior brother of hers. She would be able to explain this to old master Mo after they returned to Huangzhou. "Yes, I've already sent a batch back," Fang Zhao said. "Did you buy a present? Is there a child at home? Old child?" As he spoke, Fang Zhao received a message. "Important news?" asked Anna. Before the red carpet, any news could change the mood of the artists. After all, he had agreed to help, so he naturally paid attention to Fang Zhao's condition. "Teacher Mo's," Fang Zhao replied. "The old man is sending you a message at this time?" Anna's expression turned serious. Based on her understanding of Mo Lang, it was impossible for the old man not to understand the situation here. He must have his reasons for choosing to send the message at this time. "The old man gave me a test question," Fang Zhao replied with a smile. Not only was Mo Lang worried that Fang Zhao would have stage fright later, but he had also specially given him a test question. He was probably worried that Fang Zhao would be infected by the atmosphere and seek refuge in the film and television industry. Anna still wanted to say something, but someone in front of them gestured for them to get ready, so she said, "It starts in half an hour. Don't be nervous. You've seen a lot of big occasions. Go check yourself and see if there's anything wrong with you and get someone to help you fix it. There's someone upstairs. Never mind, I'll bring you over." Anna brought Fang Zhao to the second floor of the side hall and got a stylist she was familiar with to give Fang Zhao another checkup. On the second floor, Fang Zhao saw Lu Aotian. This time, Lu Aotian had been nominated for Best Child Star, so he would also be walking the red carpet. Who knew where this kid had been? His hair was a little messy, and the stylist was busy tidying him up. When he saw Fang Zhao, Lu Aotian slapped the armrest of his chair. "Big brother Zhao." Lu Aotian's father hadn't been nominated, nor had he managed to get a spot on the red carpet. This time, Lu Outyin had entered with a female singer. Someone beside Lu Outyin asked, "Have you prepared your acceptance speech?" Lu Outyin puffed out his chest. "I've memorized it." "Are you nervous?" Anna followed up. "No, the Best Child Star award will definitely be mine. None of the other nominees can act as well as I did." At this moment, the screen at the side flashed. Many large screens were suspended in many places in the side hall. Previously, they had been showing promotional videos of various films. Now, the screen changed to show the situation outside the venue. People who had been chatting and laughing stopped. Their expressions changed. On the screen, fans could be seen crowding the streets outside the venue. As the screen changed, people could be seen everywhere. There were fans, professional photography teams that had booked out a few rooftops, entertainment reporters, and die-hard fans of various actors and actresses who were stationed at designated spots near the venue. There were even people in some residential buildings that were further away from the venue who walked out to their balconies or to open spaces or plazas. They checked the time and stared at the large screen suspended in the air. A cameraman who was taking a break looked at the gradually fading red clouds and shouted to the rest of the team, "Get ready." On Coral Island, as night fell, the lights of the tall buildings lit up. Fang Zhao also saw some photographers with professional filming equipment and people who seemed to be bodyguards surrounding them. They were really armed to the teeth. The atmosphere in the side hall changed as the screen changed. The organizers had arranged for people to enter the venue. Celebrities not walking the red carpet entered the theater in batches. "Do you know why so many people are fighting for a chance to walk the red carpet?" Anna asked Fang Zhao, her eyes still glued to the screen. Fang Zhao looked over and waited for Anna to continue. "Have you seen the previous Golden TV series Gala Awards ceremony?" Anna asked. "Yes," Fang Zhao replied. "The world's top photography teams were here. From the moment one made an appearance, one had to be prepared to be photographed." Why had Nan Feng repeatedly emphasized the details of every pore on Fang Zhao's face, from the gaps between his teeth to his hair? Composing was mostly done behind the scenes, while actors stood in front of the camera. Countless cameras and high-definition real-time footage were being filmed the moment the celebrities made their appearance. Apart from that, a large number of critics had been waiting in front of the screen. Their gazes were sharper than those of surveillance cameras, eager to catch any mistakes. It's good that you've seen it, but watching a video and experiencing it firsthand are still different. Are you mentally prepared? Anna asked. Yes, Fang Zhao replied. Are you nervous? Not at all. Anna couldn't continue the sentence she had prepared. She observed every minute expression on Fang Zhao's face and realized that Fang Zhao wasn't lying. He really wasn't nervous at all. Fang Zhao was a celebrity who had appeared on many public occasions and even appeared on the stage of the Galaxy Awards, so it wasn't strange that he had this kind of mental fortitude. When the first rays of sunlight disappeared, the plaza in front of the Golden Coral Theater, where the Golden TV series Gala was held, lit up and formed a giant golden coral tree. Trumpet-like music kicked off the Golden TV series Gala. Bang bang bang. The deafening sound of fireworks filled the night sky like a peacock spreading its tail. These weren't real fireworks, but special effects created by the lighting and sound system. Tens of thousands of light projectors all over the island were the creators and transmitters of the atmosphere, raising the temperature of the island from room temperature to boiling point. Waves of blue light spread out in all directions with the theater as the center. Gorgeous fireworks blossomed, bearing the bursting passion of the night, taking the form of all kinds of giant corals and burning fiercely. Like shooting stars, the scattered light spots flickered and passed through the buildings, drifting above the crowd along with the blue ripples of light. Like a work of art, the fireworks shot into the night sky one after another, decorating the plain night sky with vibrant colors. It was like a dream. The realistic light effects made it seem as if they could touch them with their bare hands. Everyone's emotions were set aflame. The audio equipment hidden everywhere released invisible blades that attacked people's eardrums in waves. The tide-like music seemed to transform into an electric current that brushed past everyone's skin, causing their hair to stand on end. While they trembled, There was an uncontrollable excitement that wanted to break through the restraints and rush out. In the wide open space in front of the theater, a long and narrow stage rose to a height of 20 meters. The walkway was less than 50 meters long, and thousands of consecutive fireworks formed a huge waterfall of flowing light effects that poured down from both sides of the walkway. An ancient, solemn, and heavy sound rang out. Located on the top floor of the Golden Coral Theater in Corral, the door with the golden coral imprint that only opened once a year slowly opened. A red carpet was laid out from inside the golden coral imprint along the long and narrow walkway in the air. Star directors, well-known film critics, and famous film workers from all over the world were gathered here. All the influential figures at the top of the entertainment pyramid were gathered here. Entertainment reporters and professional photographers had long since set up their equipment beside the long and narrow walkway laid out with the red carpet. Outside, countless film fans were like a boundless ocean wave that stretched as far as the eye could see. Passion like lava surged in from all directions, as if the entire area was about to be set ablaze. The crowd, which was as dense as seaweed, was venting the excitement in their hearts unscrupulously under the splendid view of lights. Their crazy screams almost pierced through the clouds and confronted the deafening sound effects. All the blood in their bodies resonated, and their heartbeats seemed to have gone out of control. Tens of thousands of screens all over the island were playing the same scene. The images quickly flashed past the faces of the excited fans, the flowing light of the fireworks reflected in their eyes. The Galaxy Awards ceremony, known as the highest award of the arts festival, was calm and controlled. But here, all emotions seemed to have lost their sense of self. At this moment, no matter which continent they came from, their emotions were unified. The dizzying passion made even sound seem to have lost its meaning. The people shouting didn't even know what they were shouting, nor did they need to know. They just needed to loudly vent their emotions that could no longer be suppressed. Unable to calm down. Even the best actors and actresses with decades of acting experience couldn't control their excitement when they came here every year and saw this scene. All the hard work was worth it. Wasn't this what they were all for? They wanted to stand above the crowd, surrounded by flowing lights, on that resplendent avenue that was the focus of millions of people. What was the red carpet of the premiere of a blockbuster film during the film festival? What was the red carpet of the various exhibition events? The real focal point, the real avenue of stars, was here. Here, every artist's influence would be amplified to the maximum. Here they were the real kings. Although the photographers and entertainment reporters had different goals, at this time, they were doing the same thing. Pushing their nerves to the limit, not letting go of a single irreproducible moment. Every time the celebrities on the platform raised their hands, they would cause a tsunami of noise. The undulating screams hadn't stopped since the beginning of the ceremony. Feng Zhao waited in the side hall, watching the live broadcast on the screen. He could feel the heat of the scene even through the screen. Under the guidance of the organizers, Feng Zhao and Anna walked out of the waiting room. Outside, there was already a flying car parked and waiting. Later, no matter what you hear around you shouting, stay calm. If you hear someone shouting your name, don't look over. Maintain your own rhythm, Anna said quickly after getting in the car. Got it. Thank you, Senior. Chapter 372. Quite a few people had already walked past Feng Zhao and the others. The passion of the fans was still burning, and some people's screams had started to turn hoarse. The atmosphere hadn't died down since the start of the ceremony. It was as passionate as ever. In the Corral Archipelago, apart from Memorial Day, these 2 days were the liveliest days of the awards ceremony. This was a grand occasion that belonged to Corral. Even though most people on the island could only watch the live broadcast, the atmosphere enveloping the entire island still made them scream along with the live audience. Countless police officers were dutifully maintaining order all over the island. As the two celebrities in front walked through the gate marked by the golden coral, another flying car slowly drove over and landed steadily on the stage at one end of the red carpet. Who is it this time? I wonder how many cars this is? How many nominees are left who haven't walked the red carpet yet? Fans and reporters alike craned their necks like children opening presents, waiting to see the surprise that was about to unfold. In contrast, the top photographers were calm and composed. Some of them had been hired by entertainment companies to take photos of their artists. Some had been hired by fashion magazines to take photos of the celebrities' outfits. Still others had been hired by the organizers. Even though the celebrities had an extraordinary aura and were dressed dazzlingly, not all of them attracted the photographers. As long as they completed their employer's assignment, the rest depended on their mood. However, even if they weren't satisfied with the celebrities on the red carpet, they would still take a few symbolic photos for the sake of the organizers and contribute some camera flashes to improve the atmosphere of the live broadcast. At this moment, at the beginning of the red carpet, the car door opened and the person inside stepped out. Fuck. It's Feng Zhao. Feng Zhao. We finally meet Feng Zhao. How many days has it been? Feng Zhao is finally here. The entertainment reporters were even more excited. Most of them hadn't seen Feng Zhao since arriving in Corral. In the film industry, Feng Zhao was indeed a newcomer, but on a global scale, Feng Zhao was indeed a celebrity. He was the talk of the town, and he was a genius that had been reported on many times by authoritative official media outlets. Shots. More shots. Such a photo opportunity was rare. If they missed it, who knew when they would get another chance? The moment Feng Zhao stepped out of the car, his eyes sparkled. He might not be able to see those people's faces clearly, but he could feel the excitement and adoration coming from all directions. It was as if he was the center of the world. Amidst the screams and flashing lights, Feng Zhao bent over and picked up a fair hand from inside the car. Anna, who was wearing a white dress, got out of the car. With every step Anna took, her long dress seemed to change. She smiled, casual and elegant. Ah, Anna. Goddess. As expected of a globally influential and well-established celebrity. Fans screamed when they saw Anna's name. Fans from Huangzhou were so crazy that they wanted to rush over. Some fans tried to break through the warning line, but the police skillfully pulled them back. The recording equipment of the entertainment reporters and the live broadcast media did not stop working, and the live commentary did not stop for even a moment. The cameras in the hands of the photographers shone like stars, and a formless heat wave rose once again. The sound waves and light catalyzed the eruption of hot air. For Anna, the scene before her was familiar and satisfying. She enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. No matter how many difficulties she had encountered, she still could not give up her acting career. No matter how calm she usually was, every time she stood here, she would still be overwhelmed. This proved that everything she had done was worth it. Anna smiled and waved to the fans on both sides. Whether or not she could win an award was a matter of the future. At this moment, Anna was going all out with her outfit and aura. Whether or not she could win the hearts of more of the world's top brands of clothing and jewelry depended on this journey. But Anna had only taken a few steps when she thought to herself, oh no. The moment she stepped in, she was affected by the surrounding atmosphere and unconsciously brought out the aura of Golden Coral's best female lead. Didn't I say I would bring along a junior? Forgot. If the disparity was too great and one party went all out, the other party would be suppressed to the point of being invisible. Even if they appeared in the same scene, they would not have any sense of presence. Even if they walked side by side, they would look like a sidekick. This was also why the organizers had arranged for people of similar status on the red carpet to avoid even more awkward situations. Anna was worried that her junior brother, who was walking the red carpet for the first time, would look like a waiter helping to hold a dress in the back. If she completely crushed her junior brother on his first red carpet walk, how was she going to explain it to Grandfather Imo? But very quickly, from the corner of her eyes, Anna realized that Feng Zhao did not seem to be as stiff as a newcomer. The seemingly simple black and white formal attire looked tough and imposing on Feng Zhao. Although he had a smile on his face, when his gaze swept over, it carried a kind of nimble and oppressive feeling. Aura was a very mysterious thing. Many people would have stage fright standing here and their legs would turn to jelly. But Feng Zhao, who was here for the first time, seemed to make people forget that he was in his 20s and that he was a newcomer. Every move he made was just right. The more he stole the spotlight, the less he was suppressed. That kind of unique aura that was composed and oppressive at the same time made him look nothing like a first-timer at the Corral Golden Film Gala. Although Anna maintained a perfect smile on her face, she was getting more and more shocked. What kind of background does this junior have? Is he a newcomer? Fang Zhao, who was standing here for the first time, was not overshadowed by Anna's oppressive aura. On the contrary, because of his presence, the entire image captured by the camera was even more dazzling. In the eyes of many top photographers, there were no stars, no high or low status. Those were just a bunch of light and lines. Even the most glamorous image might not be able to move them. What they had to do was seize the moment when all the light and lines combined to form the most perfect image. For the sake of a satisfactory photo, for the sake of that bit of visual beauty in their hearts, they could rack their brains and go crazy over it. Amidst the formless notes and flowing light and shadow, the two people on the red carpet constantly changed their pace to make it easier for the media to take photos. Sometimes they were fast, sometimes they were slow. They had a specific rhythm that was coordinated but not ambiguous. They perfectly blended in with the surrounding light and shadow, their cadence rising and falling. This kind of image, this kind of rhythm, brought a strong impact to the photographer's senses. It was a fatal attraction that struck straight to the soul. In an instant, the eyes of the photographers lit up like they had discovered a treasure. If the fanaticism of the fans was like a surging tide, then the fanaticism of the photographers was like a violent storm, thunder, and lightning. The densely packed flashes of light formed a sea of sparkling stars and lightning. It was especially dazzling. The excited photographers clutched their cameras. Because of the rapid adjustments and controls, their hands looked like they were shaking like sieves. They felt like they could barely hold on to their cameras. Soon, the silvery white sea of lightning formed by the flashing lights completely lost its self-control. Although this wasn't the first time Anna had walked this red carpet, this was a new experience. Thinking back to when she had walked the red carpet in the past, when had the group of arrogant photographers ever had such an intense reaction? The crazy flashes made her feel like she was in the middle of a grand pilgrimage. She almost lost her cool from the impact of this atmosphere. Excitement, ecstasy. Anna tried her best to control her facial expression and not laugh too exaggeratedly. The entertainment reporters looked around. The photographers were working so hard. How could the entertainment reporters fall behind? Even if they didn't understand why the group of photographers had suddenly gone crazy, they were quick-witted. All they had to do was follow. They wouldn't go wrong. Halfway through the red carpet, they hadn't finished. For some photographers who weren't in good positions, they weren't satisfied with the photos they had already taken. Even if they had better control over the changes in lighting than most people, the angle was still a big problem. Not enough. Still a little off. Was it Anna? No, it was Fang Zhao. This actor was too unprofessional. Anna could let the photographers in every position get the best of her. This was an accumulation of experience. But Fang Zhao was different. He couldn't let the photographers in every position get a satisfactory photo. Actually, he was better at avoiding the camera. Some photographers thought to themselves, it would be best if Fang Zhao could turn another 15 degrees. Others thought to themselves, I didn't manage to capture the most satisfying moment. What a pity. If he had looked over here a little more, perhaps I would have been able to capture it. All obstacles were paper tigers. They couldn't stop their stubborn pursuit of the perfect image. Fang Zhao, where are you looking? Look over here. Turn a little more. A few photographers who had been reserved shouted. However, this wasn't their own studio. Their voices were drowned out the moment they spoke. Some of the entertainment reporters realized that this group of photography masters were filming Fang Zhao. All right, then let's film more of Fang Zhao. Outside the theater, fans were excited to see the two stars. Who would have thought that the entertainment reporters beside them were even more excited? Fang Zhao, over here. As they shouted, they snapped furiously, making the more rational Fang Zhao fan look like a fake fan. Some fans who weren't fans of Fang Zhao or Anna were stunned by the entertainment reporters' shouts. When they regained their senses, they were furious. I'm in the first tier of groupies. I boast that I'm a fanatical fan. How could I lose to a mere entertainment reporter? This is intolerable. Even though they weren't die-hard fans of Feng Zhao and Anna, they definitely couldn't lose in front of the entertainment reporters. Thus, the photographers shouted, Feng Zhao. The entertainment reporters shouted even louder, Feng Zhao. Feng Zhao. The fans' voices were like a tsunami. Feng Zhao. Feng Zhao. Feng Zhao. The atmosphere exploded once again, setting off an even higher wave. Many people even subconsciously followed suit, as if they were being brainwashed. More and more people followed suit. This included some of Anna's fans whose minds weren't clear. Anna. Chapter 373. When Anna's fans came back to their senses, they saw the situation unfolding before them. This was even more intolerable. On one side, Feng Zhao's fans and the cameraman had stirred up a storm. On the other side, Anna's fans seemed to be using all their strength to shout even more hysterically. Some people thought, I'm not a fan of either of them. Which side should I support? Whatever, I'll just shout along with the people around me. In this atmosphere, it would be embarrassing not to speak up. Gradually, driven by the atmosphere, the fans reached their peak. Words seemed to lose their effect. A single was enough to express everything. Thus, the shouts of Feng Zhao and Anna were gradually drowned out by the screams of ah. The feeling of heat rising from all directions made Anna, who was standing in the center of the whirlpool, feel a little dizzy. The smile on her face was no longer a decorative one, but a genuine, heartfelt joy that was more exciting than winning a prize. Others might not know, but as a regular at film festivals, she knew all too well how rare this situation was. Even if she didn't win an award, it was still worth it. Not far from the venue, many people who couldn't get in had gathered to watch the live broadcast. Zhuo Yu and Yan Biao swallowed hard as they watched the scene unfold on the screen. Is our boss that popular? Zhuo Yu shivered as goosebumps rose all over his body. Aren't newcomers at a disadvantage here? Yan Biao didn't understand. Zhuo Yu turned to Nanfeng and asked, Did you buy fans? Did you arrange for professional fans to control the crowd? How is that possible? How many people did I arrange? Just look at the number of reporters and fans closest to the venue. I couldn't have arranged for that kind of craziness. Nanfeng was excited and refreshed. He had been worried that as a newcomer in the film industry, Feng Zhao wouldn't be able to control the atmosphere. But when he saw his co-star, Anna, Nanfeng felt relieved. With this Huangzhou superstar leading the way, even if the popularity was one-sided, there wouldn't be an awkward silence. But reality was far from what he could have predicted. Looking at the scene before him, he actually had the momentum to suppress Anna. Not just anyone could trigger the craziness of the cameraman. They had seen many superstars, but Nanfeng couldn't understand why they would react like this. He wasn't a professional cameraman and couldn't understand their pursuits, but he could tell from the live broadcast that Feng Zhao's aura didn't lose to Anna's. Nanfeng was so emotional that his eyes were brimming with tears. He had nowhere to vent his emotions and couldn't chat with Zhuo Yu and Yan Biao, so he started a group chat with his old friends in the entertainment industry. Did you watch the live stream? He's my boss. Amazing! You performed so well on your first red carpet at the Golden TV series gala. Look at the reaction of the cameraman. Nanfeng, you're going to be rich. If you have any business in the future, don't forget to bring us along. We'll give you a discount. Ah, well said, well said. Nanfeng was especially pleased with himself. He gave a thumbs up for his smart choice back then. If it had been any other celebrity, it would have been rare to have Nanfeng's luck and ability. How many years have I endured? At this moment, I no longer know how to describe my feelings. Nanfeng's eyes were red. He was so emotional that his voice trembled slightly. Don't you feel excited that your own pig is finally out of the pen? Another friend suddenly asked. Nanfeng glanced guiltily at Zhuo Yu and Yan Biao. Seeing that they weren't paying attention, he heaved a sigh of relief. How could you compare your boss to a pig? Even if he was a pig, he was a golden pig. How could he not be excited when a golden pig was released from the pen? At the same time, Zaro's agent was also watching the livestream. His eyes were brimming with tears of envy, jealousy, and hatred. Although his salary was high, he didn't feel the satisfaction of being honored. Every time he attended these events and saw other celebrities, he felt incomparably sad. Compared to other celebrities, his own was just a dog. And a stupid dog. But even if it was a stupid dog, he still had to provide for it. Who asked stupid dogs to pay? Based on his understanding of Zaro, he was probably just as envious now. Thus, with mixed feelings, his agent sent Zaro a text message. Don't be too envious of him. You can do it too. There's a saying from the old era. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let's take it slow. Very quickly, Zaro replied, I understand what you're saying, but where is that foot? Which continent? Zaro's agent was stupefied. What do you know? His mood suddenly calmed down. Accept reality. Rather than thinking about those impossible things, why not think about how to raise this stupid dog's value and sell it for a better price? No matter how stupid Zaro was, the Renault surname gave him confidence. What could Feng Zhao do? No matter how popular he wasn't the descendant of a great general. On the other side, Feng Zhao and Anna walked the red carpet and entered the venue through the golden coral door. Only then did the outside world gradually calm down. After signing on the signature wall, they cooperated with the media for a few photos. After a short interview, the two finally entered the gala hall. Anna hadn't completely calmed down. She turned to look at Feng Zhao beside her and smiled. How is it? Do you feel like the red carpet has some kind of magical power that makes you feel like you're flying? Do you want to change careers? Feng Zhao raised his head. There wasn't a trace of excitement in his eyes. Anna, seeing Feng Zhao typing a text message, she asked, Are you sharing your feelings with a friend? Feng Zhao replied, Teacher Mo gave me a question. I'm sending him the answer now. Anna gave Feng Zhao a peculiar look. What kind of question did Teacher Mo give you? He told me to pay attention when I was walking the red carpet. He wanted me to know who the composer of the song playing in the background was and to send him the answer after the walk. Anna, little junior brother, are you a monster? It was already difficult for a normal person to keep their cool in that kind of atmosphere, let alone listening to the background music amidst all sorts of screams and howls. Let alone analyzing the composer of the background music. After sitting down, Anna immediately sent a text message to her husband, Lan Jing. I finally understand why Teacher Mo is trying so hard to pull Feng Zhao over to his side. Lan Jing was curious. Why? Feng Zhao is a monster. Ignoring the limelight Feng Zhao had brought along on the red carpet, just the fact that Feng Zhao could divert his attention to answer a question and calmly send a text message after the walk was enough to give Anna a huge blow. There's really nothing to say about talent. Lan Jing, as his last disciple, you're going to fall out of favor with Venerable Mo Lang. Mo Lang was also watching the live broadcast. During the red carpet walk, he only focused on Feng Zhao's walk. He kept his eyes on Feng Zhao and observed his reaction. Under the extremely clear lens, Feng Zhao's performance was flawless. At most, from the cameraman's point of view, Feng Zhao's performance wasn't perfect. Watching Feng Zhao bring up the atmosphere, Mo Lang muttered to himself, Does this kid remember the question I gave him? Every year, the background music for the film festival's red carpet was a new composition that had never been released to the public before. It wasn't repeated and was considered a customized piece for the film festival's red carpet. Every song had a specific duration. Therefore, every time a team walked, a new piece would be played. But soon, not long after Feng Zhao finished the red carpet, Mo Lang received a reply from Feng Zhao. Feng Zhao had given him the answer and the process of his analysis. Feng Zhao had analyzed the background music style from its aesthetic characteristics, structure, rhythm, and so on. He had deduced its current representative, great master staples, and then to a certain disciple of this great master. Actually, Mo Lang's request to Feng Zhao had been that he was from Staples' faction, but Feng Zhao had pinpointed Staples' favorite disciple. When he saw Feng Zhao's answer, Mo Lang swayed happily in his rocking chair and immediately called Staples. Little Staples. Mo Lang's voice rose a little because he was in a good mood. Please call me Staples. Staples was still depressed when he received Mo Lang's call. Why was this old man calling at this time? Staples found out soon enough. Fang Zhao had been able to calmly analyze and accurately grasp every note in that kind of atmosphere and pinpoint the composer. This was enough for Mo Lang to brag about for half a year. It had been a long time since Mo Lang had stopped accepting disciples. He had never felt so happy and excited to find someone to show off. No, even before he had announced that he was no longer accepting disciples, he had rarely felt this way. Now, Mo Lang felt that pulling Fang Zhao over to his side had been the best decision he had made in recent years. Even if they weren't master and disciple to outsiders, Fang Zhao would be personally taught by Mo Lang. As for Fang Zhao's public teacher, Carter, Mo Lang felt that given Carter's standards, he wouldn't be able to teach Fang Zhao well. Fang Zhao, who was sitting at the venue of the Golden Series Gala, didn't know that Mo Lang was bragging to others. After he sent Mo Lang his answer, he received a calm but complimentary, "very good." Nothing more. Fang Zhao was still wondering if this was the style of a great master. After greeting the other seniors in the film industry, Fang Zhao was called over by founding Erat director Nova Roman for a chat. There were so many people in the venue, and all the nominees were seated at the front. Everyone in the back could see their every move clearly. When Roman called Fang Zhao over for a chat and even smiled warmly, many people's hearts skipped a beat. Even after founding Erat had finished filming, director Roman's attitude toward Fang Zhao was still so good. Fang Zhao's performance in Founding Era was enough for Roman to brag about until the end of his directing career, a director who dared to use newcomers and a great director with godlike foresight. Many celebrities were already wondering if Roman's next project could also be given to newcomers from their own companies to try out. Previously, they hadn't dared to give it a try, and Fang Zhao had picked up this opportunity. The live broadcast of the red carpet was still playing on the big screens in the venue. However, after Fang Zhao's team left, the other teams that followed didn't have the same kind of star-studded spectacle. The enthusiasm of the cameramen seemed to have cooled down quite a bit. What they feared was comparison. The few groups walking the red carpet cursed Fang Zhao and Anna several times in their hearts. Chapter 374. When the last group finished walking the red carpet, the chatter outside the venue gradually died down, but the atmosphere inside the venue was getting more and more tense. The last group of people to finish walking the red carpet let out a long sigh of relief. It was the first time for one of them to walk the red carpet. He was so nervous that his back was soaked in sweat. He felt that walking this short distance was more tiring than acting in a drama. The vast majority of the nominees were from its founding era cast and crew. Even if they weren't familiar with each other, they knew each other. When they entered the venue, they couldn't help but glance over at Fang Zhao. Fang Zhao seemed rather calm. Whether or not he was faking it, it was still worth learning from. Thus, those who had been nervous also pretended to be indifferent. But their hidden hands were clenched into fists. Their palms were sweaty, and they wondered if they could win. That's Golden TV series gala started very quickly. Compared to the Galaxy Awards ceremony, which was more serious and formal, that's Golden TV series gala was more casual and lively. From the start, the host made the atmosphere very relaxed. He talked, sang, and joked. Every now and then he would make a few jokes, triggering waves of laughter. In front of the cameras, celebrities and various film and television workers laughed very easily. Even if they couldn't laugh, they still had to act. What if they were caught on camera? This was a live broadcast. Who knew what the online audience would say? The moral integrity of the entertainment reporters looking at the pictures was even more touching. Therefore, acting had to be everywhere. At the start, the awards for the comedy categories were given out. The atmosphere was relatively relaxed, but when the awards for the first few categories were given out, the atmosphere became less lively. The smiles of the younger actors became awkward. The Best Child Star Award was a turning point, because it was followed by the awards for the drama series. At the beginning, the Corral Film Festival didn't have a Best Child Star Award. Later, to encourage outstanding child actors, it was added. Liu Outyen had been nominated for this award, and he had the highest chance of winning it. Sure enough, when the honored guest read out Lu Outyen's name, no one was surprised. Lu Outyen's parents stood up and clapped excitedly the moment they heard his name. As for Lu Outyen, after getting up from his seat, he jogged onto the stage and did a forward somersault and a few somersaults until he reached the honored guest, eliciting a burst of good-natured laughter from many of the older actors. "Ha! This kid! This little fella is very excited. Look at the strength of that somersault. Not bad. He must have practiced it many times in private. Of course. Before filming Founding Era, he even practiced shooting, and his hands still had calluses. Therefore, in the film he shot, there were no irregularities. He is indeed a hard-working little fellow." On the stage, Lu Outyen did not even bother to wipe off the sweat on his forehead. He was grinning so widely that all his teeth were showing. Actually, he had already started to lose his teeth during the filming of Founding Era. At that time, in order to make the filming look more realistic, the lead director did not let him wear dentures. Now, for the award ceremony, he wore custom-made dentures in advance. Otherwise, if people found out that he had lost his front teeth, how embarrassing would that be? He would take off his dentures after the film and television festival, so he was not afraid to show his teeth at all. Not only did he have to smile, he had to smile brilliantly. This was the first major award that he had won with his own abilities. His father had not even been nominated this time. Holding the trophy, Lu Outyen was about to give an acceptance speech when he realized that he had forgotten what to say. He had clearly memorized it before coming, but now that he was too excited, it was like fireworks had gone off in his head. He could not remember anything else. When the honored guest presenter saw this, he understood and was in no hurry to get off the stage. Instead, he asked Lu Outyen, "Are you surprised to receive the award? Are you happy?" Lu Outyen immediately replied, "Not surprised. Very happy. After all, my performance in the series was so good. This little friend is very confident. Who did you like the most during filming?" Another honored guest asked. Lu Outyen replied loudly, "I liked Fong Zhao the most." The live broadcast even gave Father Lu a close-up. Father Lu had a flawless smile. In his heart, he was thinking about how he would deal with this little brat when he got home. He was so happy that he had even forgotten his father. Shouldn't you mention your father's name at times like this? After the camera cut, someone sitting beside Father Lu joked, "Why don't you go and have a fight with Fong Zhao after this ends?" "Nope," Father Lu said decisively. "Why? Do you know how many sandbags he smashed while filming Founding Era?" At this point, Lu Outyen also remembered the acceptance speech he had memorized. He thanked his parents for nurturing him. Without the environment and conditions of his family, he would not have been able to reach such heights at this age. He also thanked the director and all the brothers, sisters, uncles, and aunties in the cast and crew. However, many online viewers no longer cared about what Lu Outyen had to say. What they were more interested in was why the first person Lu Outyen mentioned was Fong Zhao. Because of this, many netizens dug up stills of Lu Outyen sitting on Fong Zhao's shoulders, as well as historical photos of General Wu Yan sitting on Fong Zhao's shoulders as a child. This once again sparked a wave of discussion. In a residential house on Coral Island, the exploding fireworks reminded people that another award was about to be handed out. A young man who had just finished a game asked a friend watching the live broadcast, "What was the award just given out?" "The Best Child Star Award. The winner is that kid Lu Outyen. He acted as the main character in the Dreamy chapter of Founding Era when he was young. Look at this very popular online stills and compare it to historical photos. Don't they look very similar? Looks like his acting was pretty good. When the time comes, I haven't watched the Dreamy chapter of Founding Era yet. This kid is really interesting. He did a somersault on stage. When the host asked him who he liked the most in the cast and crew, he said Fong Zhao. Ha! The live broadcast even gave his dad a shot. Fong Zhao? That Fong Zhao who was rather popular a while ago? I think I saw him in the nomination list. Right? He was nominated for Best Newcomer and Best Supporting Actor, but I don't know if he will win. Hey, next up is Best Newcomer. After Best Child Star was the Best Newcomer Award. The honored guest opened the envelope and looked at the name written on it. Fang Zhao. Music and applause rang out. Spotlights shone on Fang Zhao. Under the camera, Fang Zhao got up and bowed to his seniors in the entertainment circle. He revealed some emotions of excitement, nervousness, and excitement. This was the reaction that a person his age should have. Watching the live broadcast, Zuiyu, Yan Biao, and Nan Feng. Our boss is acting again. Although Silverwing was happy that Fang Zhao had won this award, they were still a little disappointed. On this stage at the Corral Film Festival's Golden TV Series Gala, the Best Supporting Actor award was a little more valuable than the Newcomer award. Like Best Child Star, in the early years of the Golden TV Series Gala, there had been no Best Newcomer award. It had been added later to encourage young actors and actresses to work hard on their careers. It could be said that the Newcomer Award was a competition between new actors and actresses of the same generation, while the Best Supporting Actor Award was a more comprehensive competition. It was a competition with the seniors in the entertainment circle. Founding Era director Nova Roman's smile faded slightly when he saw the results. In his heart, between the Newcomer Award and the Best Supporting Actor Award, he had hoped that Fang Zhao would win the Best Supporting Actor Award. That way, he would be able to affirm that Fang Zhao's ability wouldn't lose to the other seniors in the entertainment circle. In Roman's heart, in the many chapters of Founding Era, Fang Zhao had acted the Best Supporting Actor. Although Fang Zhao was young and his acting path was rather narrow, this couldn't negate his perfect performance in Founding Era. However, the judges' final voting still placed Fang Zhao in the Best Newcomer category. Roman had voted for Fang Zhao in the Best Supporting Actor category, but others didn't think the same way. This was no longer the Founding Era project team. Roman's words weren't the only thing that mattered. An actor's acting skills were important, but there were other factors as well. After all, the judges were also human. They had their own selfish motives and biases, and they would also consider an actor's personal history. Compared to Fang Zhao, the judges were more satisfied with the others. Although there were no written rules, everyone understood that Fang Zhao could forget about winning the Best Supporting Actor award. This made the other actors who had been nominated for the Best Supporting Actor award heave a sigh of relief. Fang Zhao was indeed a very strong competitor. Everyone had seen his performance in the film for themselves. The others sitting beside Roman noticed the slight change in his expression and understood that Roman wasn't satisfied. But this was the result. There was no point in having any objections. When the Best Newcomer award was handed out, Corral Island was once again set off another round of fireworks and light shows. Those who weren't watching the live broadcast were informed that another award was being handed out. Sure enough, it's Fang Zhao. Just as I expected. Getting such an achievement on his first acting day is already pretty good. Many people have been stuck in the newcomer stage for over 10 years and still haven't made any progress. Some time ago, there was some film award in some state, and the winner of the newcomer award was an actor who had debuted 5 or 6 years ago but was still a nobody. This time, Fang Zhao has been in the limelight at the Golden TV Series Gala. That's enough. His red carpet show and now his award on stage. He has struck it rich. Many people find it hard to show their faces here. This is a global live broadcast. In the venue, Fang Zhao held his trophy. After his acceptance speech, he returned to the stage. He had just sat down when he received a text notification. When he had entered the venue, Fang Zhao had muted all notifications except for those he paid special attention to. When he opened it, the sender was Mo Lang, and it wasn't a congratulatory message like the others. Fang Zhao raised his eyebrows when he saw the contents of the short message. A camera swept over him. Fang Zhao composed himself and continued to watch the following awards ceremony. The next award was the Best Screenplay Award. As expected, the award went to the writing team of Founding Era. 2 screenwriter representatives went on stage to receive the award. After thanking a few important people, the 2 screenwriters also praised the workers of the Founding Era cast. The cast of Founding Era is an excellent production team. During the filming process, everyone suffered unimaginable hardships. Also, it wasn't easy for the actors to step out of their roles. In addition, I would like to thank the consultant team. Without them, we would not have been able to perfect the script. For example, Professor Mant, Professor Riedman, Professor Besser, Professor Jason, and Yenzhou's Feng Zhao, etc. They all gave very pertinent suggestions. This is the result of everyone's hard work. Thank you. The ears of the people watching the live broadcast pricked up. What? Did I hear wrong? I think I heard Feng Zhao's name again. They just said Feng Zhao's name, right? Rewind the progress bar and confirm that they just mentioned Feng Zhao. How many people in the consultant team are called Feng Zhao? According to a well-known figure, Feng Zhao has indeed been invited to join the consultant team for founding era. There is only one person called Feng Zhao in the consultant team. That scriptwriter was indeed talking about him. Feng Zhao's name was written in the end credits of the Yenzhou chapter, but many people did not pay attention. Audiences did not understand, but the frequency of Feng Zhao's name appearing was too high. The public was also sensitive to this name. In the past, only a small portion of Yenzhou people knew that Feng Zhao had joined the consultant team. Now, many audiences around the world knew. Feng Zhao is actually a member of the consultant team for founding era. Isn't he a composer? Why is he mixing around with that bunch of historians? Is he also studying history? Chapter 375. The scriptwriter who had just spoken had mentioned quite a few names. They were all representatives of the various continents of founding era that had made important contributions. Feng Zhao's name had been mentioned because Feng Zhao had given many pertinent suggestions. In the Yenzhou chapter, Feng Zhao had given the most suggestions, and most of them had been rather important. This was also why the details of many scenes in the Yenzhou chapter had been done very well. Because of this award, which did not have a strong presence among the public, had instead sparked even greater discussion. Many people had even specially flipped through the credits at the end of the Yenzhou chapter. A composer running off to act and even entering the advisory panel of historians. How awesome was that? Next was the Best Director award in the drama category. Without any suspense, founding era head director Nova Roman won. Nova Roman, thank you to every single staff member in front of and behind the scenes. The actors were also very outstanding. There were also many young actors who did not lose out to the older actors and dared to fight and fight. For example, Feng Zhao. That's founding era cast and crew present all sighed in their hearts. Here it comes. They once again recalled the fear of being dominated by the newcomer Feng Zhao during filming. Back then, Roman had loved to use Feng Zhao to pressure them. When Roman mentioned Feng Zhao, the cast and crew were not surprised. Everyone knew that during the filming on Planet Y, head director Roman's favorite actor had been Feng Zhao. However, in their hearts, they were also convinced. Feng Zhao's performance had been excellent. If Feng Zhao had not been in his 20s, perhaps the judges would have really made an exception for him. It was hard to say how many nominations Feng Zhao would have received. What a pity! However, it was also because of this that Roman had specially mentioned Feng Zhao at this time. In his heart, Roman also felt that it was a pity for Feng Zhao. After Best Director, Feng Zhao had not received a nomination for Best Original Score. In the past, the Golden Series Gala had had quite a few music categories. Later, because of various suggestions, they had been streamlined, leaving only the Best Original Score and Best Original Score awards. In the drama category, there were often competitions between many works from the same series, and the awards were directly given to the musical works. This time, the nominees were all works from founding era. Someone told a friend in private, originally, Feng Zhao could have been nominated, but he was stopped by the judging panel. Feng Zhao's This Life of Mine actually qualified for nomination in terms of quality and compatibility with the contents of the movie, but there was a lot of controversy. Some people felt that it was doubtful that Feng Zhao could compose such a piece of work independently at his age. Even after Feng Zhao won the Galaxy Supernova Award, he still couldn't cast aside all the doubting voices. There were many high-quality pieces in founding era, and quite a few of them were at the master level. Thus, The final voting results of the evaluation committee excluded Fang Zhao's song from being nominated. At the end of the day, Fang Zhao was still too young and did not have enough experience. He could not convince everyone that it was Fang Zhao's own creation. Given that there were other options, the judges were not willing to take this risk. 5 nominated works were displayed on the screen. The song Legend that Mo Lang had composed for the finale of Founding Era was among them. Information about the work appeared on the screen. Legend. Composer, Mo Lang. Composer, Mo Lang. Fang Zhao. Roman laughed out loud and glanced over at Fang Zhao. For this sort of award, for this sort of occasion, as long as the name of the work was listed, regardless of whether it was the composer or other creative personnel, everyone had the right to go on stage to receive the award. Sure enough, when the honored guest announced Legend, the spotlight shone on Fang Zhao's position. Mo Lang was not attending, so among the creative personnel, only Fang Zhao was present. The bright and epic melody that appeared at the end of the finale of Founding Era and belonged to Legend rang out. Roman and the others clapped their hands happily. The spotlight shone on Fang Zhao. Seeing Fang Zhao get up and go on stage to receive the award, the comments section of the live broadcast exploded again. Fuck. Why is it him again? Mo Lang can't come, so of course another creative personnel will go and receive the award. The composer is also a member of this work's creative team. From the Best Child Star category, the frequency of Fang Zhao's name appearing at today's awards banquet is a little too high. How is this a little? This is simply ridiculously high. Best Child Star, Best Newcomer, Best Screenplay, Best Director, Best Original Score, he has appeared 5 times in a row. He has even gone on stage to receive the award twice. Simply like a haunting ghost. The one at the front, has language been fed to the dogs? Is this how the phrase haunting ghost is used? No matter how the online audience discussed, Fang Zhao's name had been etched into many people's minds today. One person might not have an impression, but 2 people, 3 people, 5 people in a row had heard Fang Zhao's name. Every single one of them had sparked a wave of discussion online. How rare was this? There were Best Actor awards every year, but this kind of situation was extremely rare. Entertainment reporters were excited and rubbing their palms. There was so much to write about. Tan Min, who was sitting in a corner of the venue, watched enviously as Fang Zhao received the award on stage. Indeed, some people couldn't be suppressed. When one was sufficiently outstanding, the light couldn't be blocked. Even if there was help, if one didn't have the ability, even if there was support from behind, one wouldn't be able to rise up. After Fang Zhao received the award, he made it clear in his speech that he was receiving the award on behalf of Mo Lang. This time, he was much calmer during the process of receiving the award. He had received a text message from Mo Lang telling him to go on stage if he received the award. Furthermore, the organizers had certainly made preparations for this and had discussed it with Mo Lang. After the awards for Best Original Song and Best Supporting Actress were completed, it was time for Best Supporting Actor. The list of nominees once again mentioned Fang Zhao. The results were as everyone expected. Fang Zhao won Best Newcomer, so naturally he didn't win Best Supporting Actor. However, when he was mentioned again, he was still the subject of discussion. 6 times. Tonight, Founding Era was mentioned the most. Fang Zhao can be ranked second. Impressive. He was mentioned 6 times in a row. Even though he wasn't nominated, he still made his presence known. He even went on stage to receive 2 awards. In a bit, he still has to go on stage again. That counts as 3 times. After the Best Actor and Actress awards were handed out, it was time for the last heavyweight award of the night, Best Drama Series. Once again, there was no suspense. Founding Era. When the honored guests read out the name of Founding Era, no one's heart wavered. Everyone was prepared. The other series in the drama series category were just accompaniment. A few of the main cast members, as well as the nominees from the cast and crew of Founding Era, all went on stage. The one receiving the award was still Executive Director Roman. As the person who had received 2 awards tonight, Fang Zhao naturally had to go on stage to have his picture taken. Tonight's biggest winner is Founding Era, sweeping away many heavyweight awards. The second biggest winner is Feng Zhao. It can also be said that Feng Zhao is the biggest winner tonight. He is even more of a talking point than this year's Best Actor and Actress awards. That bunch of entertainment reporters mentioned Feng Zhao a lot more than others. This was destined to be a sleepless night. Every time an award was handed out, there would be a fireworks and light show. When the last award was handed out, the entire island's fireworks and light show lasted for nearly half an hour before it stopped. Many people had come not only to see their idols but also to see Corral's fireworks and light show. The locals of Corral, as well as the tourists who had come to the area, remembered the name Feng Zhao. It couldn't be helped. The frequency of his name appearing was too high. 4 out of 10 entertainment news articles were talking about him. For a film festival, this sort of ratio was already very scary. At a certain hotel, George Quintero, who had just returned from the Golden TV series gala, sent a few clips of Feng Zhao that netizens had captured as evidence to Professor Carter. Every word he said was laced with grievance. "Professor, does a junior disciple of his level need our help in Corral, where the entertainment atmosphere is so rich?" Professor Carter frowned deeply. Feng Zhao's popularity in the entertainment circle is so high. That won't do. Although film and television was still art, and they would also collaborate with some high-quality works, such as a mega project like Founding Era, which was hard to come by even in a decade. For the increasingly fickle entertainment circle, the commercial implications were stronger. Every company was constantly unearthing the commercial value of their artists. Feng Zhao's current popularity in the entertainment circle wasn't a good thing for academics like them. Young people shouldn't be blinded by fame and fortune. Carter decided that once Feng Zhao returned, he would isolate him from the entertainment circle and quickly bring him out to work on projects. Yanbei Retirement Facility. Great-grandfather Feng was watching the live broadcast and reading the online commentary at the same time. He was so busy that he wished he had 2 more pairs of eyes. He didn't understand the affairs of the entertainment circle, so he could only read the comments online to understand. When he saw online people saying that Feng Zhao might be the biggest winner of the night, he was delighted. Ha ha! Ahem! Cough, cough, cough. Great-grandfather Feng, who was happily slapping his thigh and rocking back and forth in laughter, choked on his own saliva. Great-grandmother Feng was so shocked that she hurriedly called the retirement facility's medical staff. When the medical staff understood the situation, he was helpless. Although the checkup wasn't a big deal, he still had to say what needed to be said. "I did advise you to be cheerful and maintain a good mood, but I also warned you not to get too excited or angry all of a sudden." "I didn't. I'm just happy. I'm happy every day." Great-grandfather Feng pointed to the news of Feng Zhao on the screen. "Our little Zhao won another award today." The medical staff silently ridiculed. "How fresh. Count the number of times you've said won another award in the retirement facility." The Galaxy Awards incident wasn't over yet, and it was happening again today. Before the medical staff left, Great-grandfather Feng held him back and exhorted, "You mustn't tell anyone about this. It would be embarrassing." "Don't worry, I know." The medical staff interacted with this bunch of retired leaders every day. They wouldn't divulge patients' private matters, especially to these old leaders who valued their reputation. Chapter 376. After the Golden TV series gala, news and discussions about the award ceremony were overwhelming. Feng Zhao's name also once again appeared in the headlines of entertainment news on various continents. He was not the winner of the Best Actor award, but he was the biggest winner of this banquet. If one were to look at the overall statistics, one would realize that every time Feng Zhao became a topic of discussion, apart from the film and television circles, his name would also appear in the gaming circles, music circles, and even the military and medical industries, which had always been distinctly separated from the entertainment industry, would have a small amount of news about him. Apart from that, after the Golden TV series gala, a number of world-renowned modeling agencies also began to make their moves. During the red carpet show, the hands of the photographers on both sides of the red carpet were trembling. God knows how many photos they had taken, but when they went back to take a look, none of them were satisfied. They always felt that the angle was a little off, so they could only choose the best one to post first. But deep down, they were still not satisfied. Looking at the video of the red carpet show, the cameraman sighed. What a waste of talent. She was obviously model material. Why didn't the agency package him in this direction? Photographers had their own sense of beauty. In the eyes of many people, beautiful and handsome faces were not attractive to them. Of course, in addition to their faces, there was also their temperament, as well as the unique beauty they brought to the scene in front of the camera. A video of Feng Zhao and Anna on the red carpet went viral online. Entertainment reporters didn't necessarily understand the criteria for a high-class face, but they knew that those favored by the photographers were definitely of the high-class category. Feng Zhao's face, which would have been considered ordinary in the film and television industry filled with handsome men and beautiful women, had become what entertainment reporters called a high-class face overnight. Many cameramen attending the Golden TV series gala had taken notice of Feng Zhao. Some had even contacted Silver Wing, hoping to collaborate with Feng Zhao. As for Silver Wing, Feng Zhao? We can't do anything about it. He's just a composer signed by our company, not an actor or model. But our company still has many outstanding actors and models. If you can't get a shot of Feng Zhao, you can try them. They have all gone through training with Feng Zhao. After receiving Silver Wing's reply, the majority of the photographers did not follow up. They had seen their fair share of celebrities and did not care. I just want to shoot Feng Zhao. But there were still a number of photographers who approached Silver Wing to discuss collaborations. During a press conference at Silver Wing Media, when a reporter asked about Feng Zhao's future direction of development, the spokesperson smiled but didn't say anything. The spokesperson thought to himself, why are you asking me something that the entire company doesn't know? Facing Feng Zhao, Silver Wing Media was getting weaker and weaker. Right now, his priority was to win them over. He couldn't care about anything else. Apart from the topics raised by the photographers, the fact that Anna had addressed Feng Zhao as little junior brother during the interview was also a hot topic. Before the red carpet show, Anna had this thought, I want to make junior brother famous. But in reality, she was basking in Feng Zhao's limelight. It was true that she was jealous, but it was not to the extent of hatred. After all, he was her junior brother, a junior brother with terrifying potential. Mo Lang thought highly of him. She might have to ask this junior brother for help in the future. Now that she had to help, it would be easier for her to ask for help in the future. After Anna leaked the news, Professor Carter of Huangzhou Institute of Art announced that Feng Zhao would be studying under him. Mo Lang also voiced his support. When the people in the industry saw this, they understood. This was Mo Lang accepting him as a disciple. So he had already pulled him under his wing. No wonder Feng Zhao had been the one to receive the Best Original Score award at the Golden TV Series Gala instead of someone else. Feng Zhao's artistic path would be much smoother than others if he could obtain the support of a treasured master artist, Mo Lang. But now, Mo Lang was very worried. When he scrolled through the entertainment section because of Feng Zhao, he saw people advising Feng Zhao to act, others advising him to become a model, and there was also a lot of exaggerated news. If the hype continued, Mo Lang was worried that Feng Zhao would become arrogant. After some thought, Mo Lang contacted Professor Carter. As soon as Feng Zhao returns, take him out of the project and isolate him. You must immediately isolate him from these external temptations. Carter nodded. Understood. What about Feng Zhao's theoretical teaching? You don't have to worry about that. Carter. He is my disciple. After the Golden TV Series Gala came the Golden Film Gala. For visitors to Coral Island, if the Golden TV Series Gala was a carnival on land, then the Golden Film Gala was a carnival on the sea. The Golden Film Gala was held in a palatial building by the sea. There were also fireworks and lights. The seaside scenery and dreamy lights formed a completely different backdrop from the Golden TV Series Gala. Celebrities who hadn't been able to make a name for themselves at the Golden TV Series Gala turned their attention to the Golden Film Gala. But the past 2 years had belonged to Founding Era. This super-long project had attracted more than 70% of the world's famous actors and stars. As a result, this year's Golden Film Gala seemed a lot weaker. Of course, celebrities wouldn't complain about having too many opportunities to appear in public. There would be red carpet walks, pictures taken, and news stories that needed to be hyped up. Entertainment reporters from all continents started to ponder whether they could get more photos of Feng Zhao. Who knew? They might be able to dig up some big news about this popular, high-class face. The photographers participating in the Golden Film Gala were also on standby. Some people even found a spot that they thought was convenient, thinking that this time, they had to get the most perfect photo. Although it was a pity that Feng Zhao wasn't on the red carpet list for the Golden Film Gala, there were other ways to take photos. The Golden Film Gala had special shooting spots inside the venue. Then, the various personnel who were itching to give it a try realized that they couldn't find Feng Zhao again. Because he didn't have any film credits and had no intention of changing careers to acting, Feng Zhao gave his entry to other colleagues from the same company. As for himself, he had other plans. On the night of the Golden Film Gala, on another small island in the Coral Archipelago, another local celebration was being held. Feng Zhao didn't attend the Golden Film Gala. Instead, he followed Tan Min to the lighthouse. Every year, today is a special day of remembrance for the Coral Archipelago. But this year, the Golden Film Gala and the Lighthouse Festival coincide. You see, there are local celebrations near the lighthouse. Although Tan Min also wanted to show his face at the Golden Film Gala, interact with the film industry, and expand his network, as a local, he had a deeper attachment to the Lighthouse Festival. So, having to choose between the two, he chose to come to the lighthouse. As for Feng Zhao, Tan Min had only mentioned it to test the waters. He hadn't expected that Feng Zhao would really come. There were too many locals gathered near the lighthouse, so Feng Zhao didn't squeeze his way through. Instead, he watched from a few of the best viewing spots that Tan Min had recommended. Unlike the extravagance of the Golden Film Gala, this place was self-contained. The lighthouse carried with it an ancient charm that had settled down over time, illuminating the high ground. Waves crashed against the reefs, making intermittent noises. The moist sea breeze carried the scent of alcohol, and the surroundings were filled with celebratory crowds. The drums, which were characteristic of the local area, thumped loudly, as vibrant as the life of the area. Dancers raised their heads, their eyes reflecting a seemingly rotating starry sky. The waves, the reefs, the lighthouse, and the people fused perfectly in this moment, giving off an intoxicating atmosphere. Tan Min smiled at the lighthouse and told Feng Zhao. After the broadcast of Founding Era, many foreigners said that Huangzhou people have no faith. I don't agree. I don't know about other parts of Huangzhou, but here in Coral, it is faith. Although the lighthouse had been destroyed during the period of destruction and rebuilt in the new era, for the people of Coral, the spirit of the lighthouse had always been there. The towering lighthouse was an inextinguishable hope. Feng Zhao tapped his fingers on his knees. After a while, he fished out a notebook from his backpack and jotted down his inspirations. Tan Min was filming this year's Lighthouse Festival with a video camera. He glanced at a few girls dancing nearby and was about to tell Feng Zhao, "Hey, that chick isn't bad." When he turned his head and saw Feng Zhao writing in a notebook, Tan Min shrank back when he saw this and began to reflect. As an artist, his ideological awareness was still not high enough. Sure enough, success wasn't a fluke. Look at Feng Zhao. Whether he was writing a thesis or composing, his attitude was worth learning. With Feng Zhao as a comparison, Tan Min also curbed his other thoughts. I'm a director with a dream, an artist with ambition. Feng Zhao used his pen to record his insights, so I'll use my camera to express my thoughts and feelings. One day, I'll be rewarded. I have to believe that I can definitely become a world-class director. At midnight, the light from the lighthouse shone far out on the sea. A ship sounded its whistle. The resounding voice seemed to pass through time and pay homage to the lighthouse. For the people of Coral, this kind of response was sacred. Only when the whistle sounded was this commemorative event complete. The people participating in the commemorative event left one after another. Fang Zhao finished writing the last note and closed his notebook. This trip to the Corral archipelago had been fruitful. Besides his thesis, he had also gained a lot of inspiration. After composing 2 of the songs, Fang Zhao planned to include them in his graduation concert. When he returned to the hotel, the people who had participated in the Golden Film Gala were also returning. Some artists saw Fang Zhao and thought to themselves, "Where the hell did this kid come from? I didn't see him tonight." Fang Zhao blocked the curious gazes outside his hotel room and finished the song he hadn't finished. After revising it, he turned on the surveillance cameras and checked the situation in the Huang Art dormitory. Curly Hair was playing games again, wagging his tail happily. Fang Zhao hadn't had much free time in the few days he had been in Corral. But, while Fang Zhao was composing and writing his thesis, Curly Hair was playing games. While Fang Zhao was attending various events, Curly Hair was sleeping. While Fang Zhao was controlling his appetite for the Golden Series Gala, Curly Hair was eating and drinking. Chapter 377. After attending the Corral Film Festival, Fang Zhao returned to Huangzhou Institute of Art at Professor Carter's urging. Huang didn't seem to have changed much in the 10 days he had been away. It was just that some students had started discussing Fang Zhao in private. Fang Zhao had heard it many times on the day he returned, and those students thought they had covered it up well. However, Huang Art was Huang Art after all. Even if they worshipped their idols, they were much more reserved. On the day Fang Zhao returned, Will had taken Curly Hair for a stroll in a garden on campus to nurture his inspiration. Who knew that Curly Hair, who had been happily playing in the bushes, would suddenly run toward the dormitory. Will wasn't paying attention, and the leash slipped from his hand. Curly Hair dragged the leash and ran like the wind toward the advanced student dormitory. He pounced at Fang Zhao, wagging his tail and whining like a spoiled child. Fang Zhao hadn't seen Curly Hair's long-time no-see and missed behavior from the dormitory's surveillance footage. This little thing had been having a great time playing games last night. Luckily, he wasn't connected to the internet. If he had, his addiction would probably have been even greater. Will, who had rushed over, heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Fang Zhao. He had been scared out of his wits, afraid that Curly Hair would get lost. It was said that many dogs disappeared the moment the leash was let go. The dog rearing manual also said that one had to hold the leash tightly when outside. Curly Hair hadn't been in such a situation for the past few days. He had been especially well-behaved, so well-behaved that Will had let down his guard and let go of the leash. Will heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Fang Zhao, but he didn't feel good. "I haven't even nurtured any inspiration, and it's over?" Fang Zhao saw Will's undisguised disappointment and greeted him before entering the dormitory. Fang Zhao let Nanfeng, Zuiyu, and Yen Biao return first. He put away the water tank containing the rabbit and fed it new feed before giving Curly Hair a simple checkup. Because of Curly Hair's uniqueness, Fang Zhao had prepared some simple testing tools. In the end, Curly Hair didn't seem much different from before. Even his weight hadn't changed. Fang Zhao crouched down and patted Curly Hair's head. "I might be heading out in 2 days to Mazhou to join Professor Carter and the others on a project. You can continue hanging out with Will for another half a month." Curly Hair's ears drooped as he rolled around Fang Zhao's feet and whined unhappily. His little paws even tugged at Fang Zhao's trousers. Fang Zhao quietly watched Curly Hair rolling on the ground and said, "I'll buy you a new game." Curly Hair flipped over and glanced over at the game console. His tail started wagging again. As expected of a gamer dog. Fang Zhao smiled and shook his head. He turned on the game console and looked at the statistics of the players. Curly Hair had played through all the standalone games he had bought previously and had achieved extremely high scores. Now, he was always grinding for high scores when he played games. Curly Hair had been so happy yesterday that he had probably broken his previous records. If this data was uploaded to the internet, it would definitely cause a sensation. Erase all the data and delete the game completely. Fang Zhao also bought a new little game from Fiery Bird. It was a physics-themed puzzle game. The higher the level, the more difficult it would be, and the more complex the structure would be. After making the purchase, Fang Zhao switched to single-player mode, just like before. Fang Zhao chose this game not only because of its novel design, unique color scheme, and novel effects. It also involved knowledge that was commonly used in everyday life, such as structural mechanics. The game's soundtrack was also pretty good. It blended in with the game and was natural and harmonious. The atmosphere was rather good. Curly Hair barked a few times excitedly at the sight of a new game. If Fang Zhao hadn't stopped him, he would have immediately dove into the gaming helmet to have some fun. After tidying up his dormitory, Fang Zhao was summoned by Mo Lang. Mo Lang wanted to give him a lecture on professional knowledge and professionalism. In the future, if it wasn't convenient to meet Fang Zhao in person, Mo Lang would teach Fang Zhao directly over the internet. Mo Lang told Fang Zhao that he would be responsible for all theoretical knowledge in the future. After returning from Mo Lang's place, Fang Zhao was summoned by Carter to complete the paperwork. Carter passed Fang Zhao a few application forms for him to fill out. I will be heading over to Majo for the Spartacus Cup opening ceremony's music event soon. You will come with me and a few of your seniors. You will meet them there. Just as Mo Lang had instructed, Carter had already arranged Fang Zhao's itinerary for the next few days the day he returned to school. He had even arranged it 2 days earlier than originally planned to prevent Fang Zhao from having any contact with the entertainment industry. Fang Zhao had originally thought that he would have to stay on campus for 2 or 3 days before leaving. He hadn't expected Professor Carter to make such tight arrangements. This was the benefit of being a disciple of a master. If it was a solo effort, it would be very difficult to win an event like the Spartacus Cup in Majo, especially for young musicians in their 20s. There was simply no way they could come into contact with such events. After completing the paperwork, Fang Zhao returned to his dormitory and saw Will standing at the door. I have something to discuss with you, Will said. Sure, let's talk inside. After entering, Will's gaze lingered on Curly Hair for a good while before he asked Fang Zhao, when are you going out again? During the time Fang Zhao had been attending the film festival, Will had treated Curly Hair like a rare and precious beast, afraid that he would go astray. However, inspiration just wouldn't come. Many times, Will had felt that he was very close and that he had chosen the right direction. However, he still couldn't grasp that thread of inspiration. He felt that there was definitely a problem somewhere. After some analysis, Will felt that he hadn't spent enough time with Curly Hair. Humans and dogs weren't close enough, so his inspiration hadn't been nurtured. If he was given more time, perhaps he would have a breakthrough. Thus, Will came looking for Fang Zhao to discuss whether he could continue raising Curly Hair for a period of time. Fang Zhao smiled. What a coincidence. I was just about to look for you. Professor Carter just asked me to come over. I have a project in Maosuzu that will take about half a month. Will's eyes lit up. Really? That's great. Then he promised Fang Zhao, don't worry. I will definitely take good care of him. I feel that I am already very close to my goal. Fang Zhao believed what Will had said. Now, Will placed Curly Hair above all else. What he said about being close to his goal was definitely true. After seeing Will's portrait of himself, Fang Zhao was looking forward to seeing how Will would paint Curly Hair. Just like before, Curly Hair would follow Will during the day and return to his dormitory at night. This little fella's mind was on games, so he wouldn't go out at night. After Will left, Fang Zhao contacted great-grandfather and great-grandmother Fang in Yanbei City. After the film festival had ended, Fang Zhao hadn't gone to Yenzhou to visit the two elders because Carter had been pressing him, but he still kept in touch. This time, great-grandfather Fang was still the same as before, but great-grandmother Fang seemed to have something else to say. When she spoke to Fang Zhao, she hesitated for quite a while before telling him about how great-grandfather Fang had nearly choked to death on his own saliva. At her age, she couldn't take fright. The old man was fine this time, but what about next time? The old man hadn't been paying attention and choked on his own saliva. There were so many people in the retirement facility. Who at this age would be as fussy as him? The older he got, the less mature he was. He was as noisy as a child. Great-grandmother Fang sighed. He doesn't listen to what others say. When I say something, he gets stubborn and thinks I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Little Zhao, he will definitely listen to what you say. Tell him to be more stable. At his age, he should cultivate his character. He doesn't want to regress as he gets older. Feng Zhao hadn't expected such a thing to happen. Great-grandmother Feng's worries were reasonable. All right, I'll think of something. After ending the call, Feng Zhao thought about it carefully and felt that if he wanted great-grandfather Feng to become more mature and calm, just talking wouldn't do him any good. It would be best if he could find something else for the old man to do and develop a new hobby. Feng Zhao opened his address book and contacted people in Muzhou. Yanbei Retirement Facility. Great-grandfather Feng pulled a long face when he found out that great-grandmother Feng had told Feng Zhao about him choking on his own saliva. You told little Zhao about such a small matter. It was a pure accident. He's busy, so don't give him trouble. Great-grandfather Feng chided. Great-grandmother Feng gave him a sidelong glance. You should control your restless heart. If you have excess energy, go farm. Get a few more plots of land to farm. That will save you the trouble. How am I restless? How am I looking for trouble? I'm just showing off our family's little Zhao. Also, I can't work in the fields every day. I'm just a bag of old bones. If I really work in the fields, I'll just fall to the ground. There was something else that the old master didn't say. How could farming be more interesting than showing off his great-grandson? The two elders bickered for a bit. Great-grandfather Feng ignored them and sulked. He kept a straight face, but deep down he was anxious. I wonder what little Zhao will say when he calls again? Will he lose his temper? Great-grandfather Feng lost his appetite and couldn't sleep well. The next day he was listless. Feng Zhao finally called and told the two elders that he had gotten someone to send a package and that he would receive it today. It was a small box of walnuts. After the period of destruction, many walnut species had gone extinct. Now, most of them were new varieties developed by the Academy of Agricultural Sciences. The number of walnuts sent over from Muzhou wasn't much. It wasn't that they couldn't bear to part with them, but the type of walnuts Feng Zhao had mentioned were too rare. These were the leftover samples from the Academy of Agricultural Sciences. After processing, they were immediately sent to Yenzhou. Very quickly, great-grandfather Feng received the small box that had been sent from Muzhou. Inside were manuals and copies of videos. Are these the walnuts little Zhao mentioned? Great-grandfather Feng emptied out an even more exquisite chest and transferred the walnuts inside into his own treasure chest as if they were treasures. Great-grandmother Feng put on her glasses and picked up the manual. Fitness walnuts? Great-grandfather Feng followed the manual and grabbed 2 walnuts to feel them. You don't say. Once I get my hands on them, I feel calm and at ease. Great-grandmother Feng. What a load of bullshit. Great-grandfather Feng had an intoxicated look on his face as he continued lamenting, Hey, these things are good. They can kill time and are beneficial to the body and mind without losing their style. To put it bluntly, these things were good for the body and did not hinder this old man from showing off. Great-grandmother Feng was expressionless. She felt that this old man might have unlocked another incredible skill. After fiddling with the walnuts for a long time, great-grandfather Feng felt that he was familiar with the operation. He tossed his walking stick aside and picked out the 2 most pleasing to the eye from the precious box. With one hand behind his back and the other playing with the 2 walnuts, he went out to brag. Chapter 378. Great-grandfather Feng went out for a spin with the 2 walnuts in his hands. His gait was as leisurely as ever, but he couldn't suppress his glee. He was even humming a tune. Someone asked great-grandfather Feng, Why are you playing with walnuts? Great-grandfather Feng's face turned solemn. Was he playing with walnuts? No. It was sentiment, artistic conception, artistic style. If you don't believe me, take a look. It even has the charm of the old era. That day, many seniors in the retirement facility privately inquired about where such walnuts were sold. They couldn't stand great-grandfather Feng's smugness. They didn't show it in front of him, but they were envious of him twirling walnuts. When they got back, they did some research. That's right, the old era did have such a way of playing, and it seemed pretty impressive. There were also people who went to ask great-grandfather Fong, but the first thing great-grandfather Fong said was, "My family's little Zhao gave it to me." Blah blah blah, a long string of words kept popping out, "My family's little Zhao." It made people's teeth itch. As for those who wanted to borrow or buy walnuts from great-grandfather Fong rejected all of them. No room for discussion. "I can't even bear to use them given to me by my great-grandson. How can I share them with you?" Delusional. If you have the ability, get your great-grandson to buy them. Great-grandfather Fong wasn't willing to lend out the walnuts. He did have a small chest, but it was just a small chest. He knew that if these things were easy to obtain, Fong Zhao would surely have given him a large chest, but the reality was that these things were scarce. Great-grandfather Fong's favorite thing to do every day was to take the two most pleasing walnuts out for a leisurely stroll. His hands never stopped when he was chatting or playing chess. He would even purposely approach crowded places to show off the two walnuts in his hands. Pleased. This is my personality. I'm totally different from those old fogies outside who only know how to drink tea and play chess. Great-grandfather Fong even named the two precious walnuts Diding walnuts. Carrying the name of a mythical beast made it seem even more high-end, auspicious, and evil repellent. When it came to mythological beasts, the one that left the deepest impression on great-grandfather Fong was Diding. Fong Zhao's nickname on the internet was Diding, so when mythological beasts were mentioned, the first one great-grandfather Fong thought of was Diding. The rarer something was, the greater its value. This was linked to the old era, and with great-grandfather Fong's ability to brag, this became a topic of conversation among the elders. Gradually, the story spread, and the more it spread, the more incredible it became. Some people said that the lines on the surface of the walnut were unusual, like those of mythical beasts in legends. Others said that the reason it was called the Diding walnut was because the walnut was made by Fong Zhao. Fong Zhao's nickname was Diding. Of course, there were also people who wondered if Fong Zhao was creating hype behind the scenes. Was he going to fry walnuts next? Thus, unbeknownst to Fong Zhao, he had been made a scapegoat again and again. In the end, great-grandfather Fong's small box of walnuts wasn't able to keep all of them. Great-grandfather Fong reluctantly gave up some of them due to their old relationship. The Muzhou Academy of Agricultural Sciences had to find other ways to buy the remaining stock. Not to mention the price was much higher, the quantity was just that little, and it was not enough to go around. The more they couldn't buy it, the more people wanted to buy it, and the more people asked. Later, when people from the Muzhou Academy of Agricultural Sciences took a look, they wondered why this plaything was so popular. The walnuts that had been cultivated previously didn't seem to be very tasty, so they hadn't been planted extensively. Generally, after a new breed was cultivated, the worthless ones would be shelved. In terms of food value, this new breed of walnut wasn't that great, but the people from the Academy of Agricultural Sciences hadn't expected it to be so popular all of a sudden. Now that the situation had reversed, some people began to ponder. Plant. Since the demand was so high, then they would plant it again. Retired people in the new era also knew how to keep up with the fashion. Playing with walnuts was indeed a rare thing. Those who couldn't buy it would use other substitutes, but they always felt that it wasn't as authentic as the original. Those who had the means would book it early at the Academy of Agricultural Sciences. Fong Zhao still wasn't aware of all this. That day, after he had settled the matter with great-grandfather Fong, he had prepared to head to Mazhou with Professor Carter and the others. This time, Nanfeng and the other two had tagged along. Now, Nanfeng's back was straight. Many people he knew from the past sought out Nanfeng to collaborate. However, Nanfeng ignored them. This really proved the saying, "In the past, you ignored me. Now, I'm too high for you to reach." Nanfeng was very pleased with himself. When he had received the news that Fong Zhao was heading to Mazhou, "That's too high for me to reach," Nanfeng had been putting on airs and talking to someone. Given Fong Zhao's current influence as an assistant, he still had to put on airs. Otherwise, people would think that they were easy to bully. No matter what, everything was for Fong Zhao's benefit. He had to stick to his job. Nan Feng knew what he had to say and what kind of attitude he had to display. When he received the news that Feng Zhao was heading to Mazhou to participate in a music project, although Nan Feng regretted leaving the entertainment circles so soon, he understood that Feng Zhao had his own creative priorities. Feng Zhao's mind was still focused on music. As a capable assistant, Nan Feng would raise both hands in approval of any decision Feng Zhao made. Zuiyu was still apprehensive when he received the news. Boss is going to Mazhou. Will he bring us along? Nan Feng rubbed his hands together and said confidently, he will definitely bring me along. I have to be in charge of boss's daily life and travel. Following a project is so tiring. It's mentally and physically exhausting. Boss's appetite is huge. I can't let boss go hungry. Zuiyu didn't lag behind. Besides protecting boss's safety, I can also help boss drive his flying transport. In places like Mazhou, you also need a driver. I can also help boss fend off entertainment reporters and teach paparazzi a lesson. Now, many entertainment reporters have their eyes on boss. As a bodyguard, I have a lot of responsibilities. Although the three of them spoke of their importance, deep down, they were feeling a little diffident. Feng Zhao really didn't need them. He had given them free rein when attending film festivals. This time, he was going to Mazhou with Professor Carter's team, so they didn't know if he would bring them along. The three of them waited nervously for an hour. Finally, Feng Zhao gave them an official notification and the itinerary. The three of them also received their assignments and felt at ease. Nan Feng, who had been excitedly packing his luggage, thought of something and asked the other two, if the three of us leave, what about boss's pet? Yen Biao, who had just ended the call with Feng Zhao, replied, Rabbit has an automatic feeder. Curly hair will be taken care of by the neighbor next door. And lent to the neighbor next door? Nan Feng wondered why the neighbor next door was so obsessed with curly hair, but he quickly tossed the dog aside. He had to attend to boss's matters first. Nan Feng and the other two headed to Mersizhou ahead of time, while Feng Zhao followed Carter's team. Mersizhou was one of the 4 special continents among the 12 continents of the new era. It was called Mazhou for short and was named after great General Mersizhou. Mersizhou was also the glorious surname of the Mersizhou aristocratic Mersizhou family. It could be said that those with the Mersizhou bloodline might not necessarily receive the surname, but those with this surname were definitely people recognized by the Mersizhou family. Therefore, people who came to Mazhou knew that you could offend people from A-grade esports clubs, but you should never offend people with the Mersizhou surname. But for Carter, he was more willing to interact with people with the Mersizhou surname. At least people from the Mersizhou family wouldn't cause trouble without reason. On the contrary, many people from B-grade and even C-grade esports clubs loved to cause trouble. Therefore, before arriving in Mazhou, Professor Carter had emphasized to his team that if they encountered trouble, they shouldn't face it head-on. What advantage could a person who dabbled in literature have against those who dabbled in sports? If they could avoid it, they would avoid it. If they couldn't avoid it, they would look for the police. Although there was a strong competitive atmosphere, the public security of the capital, Shavana, was still all right. The law enforcement was also considered fair. Everyone knew that Mazhou was a competitive continent. Every corner was filled with competitive elements. Competitive sports and entertainment departments and clubhouses could be seen everywhere on the streets. Basketball stars, soccer stars, shooting stars, boxing stars, and other celebrities of competitive sports appeared on the screens hanging high above the ground. Mersizhou's capital, Shavana, was also the region with the strongest competitive atmosphere. Many large-scale competitions were held here. The Spartacus Cup sports meet was also held here. After arriving at the hotel they had booked and taking a short break, Carter gathered his team for a small meeting. The main purpose was to explain his upcoming arrangements and introduce Feng Zhao to his disciples. Carter's sharp gaze swept across the room. Come, everyone, get to know each other. This is Feng Zhao, your junior disciple. This is his first time working on a project. Take good care of him. Everyone who met his gaze responded with a smile. In their hearts, they were very envious of Feng Zhao. They all knew that although Fang Zhao was Carter's disciple on the surface, he was actually learning from great master Mo Lang. However, no matter who Fang Zhao was learning from, they still had to address Fang Zhao as junior disciple. Professor Carter had brought over a dozen disciples to work on the project. They were all rather old. Other than Fang Zhao, the youngest was almost 50 years old. Carter wasn't a person who liked to talk nonsense. After saying what needed to be said, he looked at the time and said, "Let's all feel it out and seek inspiration." Then he got up and left. The Spartacus Cup organizing committee still had matters to discuss with him. They wanted to discuss the music for the next Spartacus Cup opening ceremony. After Carter left, the atmosphere in the conference room became much more relaxed. Everyone gathered around Fang Zhao. They wanted to exchange a few more words with this special junior disciple and exchange contact details. In the future, everyone would be from the same sect. If there were difficulties, they could help each other. They couldn't cut off contact. A person with a medium build and grizzled hair walked over and said with a smile, "Junior disciple, in terms of seniority, you have to call me big senior disciple." This person was called Enan. He was Carter's first disciple and was developing very well. He had made a name for himself and had a place in the circles. Enan was already over 80 years old this year, but he wasn't considered old in the new era. The reason his hair was so white was because he had specially dyed it. His hair had grown past his shoulders and was styled. It was a little curly and fluttering, giving it a more artistic feel. Big senior disciple, Fang Zhao greeted obediently. "Hey, that's right." Enan clapped his hands, the smile on his face deepening. "Just because you call me big senior disciple, I will definitely bring you." Enan was just about to say bring you to show off, bring you to soar, when he saw the conference room door open. Professor Carter rushed in with a document on the table. "I will definitely bring you to discuss academic issues and teach you how to seek creative inspiration during the Spartacus Cup. As a big senior disciple, you can ask me any questions you have. If you encounter a bottleneck in your creative work, if you run into any obstacles in your thesis, etc., you can look for me," Enan said with a straight face. Enan knew what kind of person his disciple was. Carter shot him a warning glance. Enan hurriedly assured Carter, "Teacher, don't worry. I will definitely bring up little junior disciple well." Carter snorted coldly and left in a hurry with the document. After Carter left, Enan put on a smile again. With a hint of impatience, he said to the others, "It's rare for us fellow disciples from different continents to gather together for a project. Today, I will treat everyone to a taste of Majo's flavor." Carter's disciples all knew that their big senior disciple, Enan, was a very talented person, but he had a bad habit. He was addicted to alcohol. At first, Carter had tried to dissuade him, but after seeing that Enan could produce enough work, he no longer tried. Other than Fang Zhao, everyone else understood what Enan meant by a taste of Majo's flavor. Since their big senior disciple was treating, they had to give him face, so they naturally wouldn't reject him. As the little junior disciple, Fang Zhao was brought along by everyone. Red Sea Flower Street was a shopping and entertainment district in Majo's capital, Savannah. It was a long strip along the inner sea's Red Sea. This street had originally been called Triumph Street. Back then, during the founding era celebration, the entire street had been filled with fresh flowers. Later on, every Memorial Day, flower pots would be brought out as a backdrop, so it had become known as Flower Street. Enan was treating everyone to a rather stylish bar on Red Sea Flower Street. The design was very artistic, and most importantly, the alcohol here was very good. The alcohol was good, the atmosphere was good, the food was not bad, and there were many people in the bar. Enan had clearly been here many times and was very familiar with the place. More than 10 people found a place to sit down and eat and drink. Fang Zhao quietly listened to this bunch of seniors brag and also diverted some attention to listen to the performances in the bar. The electronic blues with a hint of melancholy did not dampen Enan's good mood. Although Enan didn't seem reliable, he had the ability. He had a thorough analysis of the performances in the bar and could accurately point out which notes were not played correctly. After 2 or 3 cups of alcohol, these people, who usually seemed rather calm, relaxed, and chatted about their own composing paths, successes, and failures. To be able to catch Carter's eye, these people all had sufficient ability, and many of their experiences were worth learning from. After filtering out some things, Feng Zhao decided to organize the rest into notes when he returned. 2 hours later, Feng Zhao supported Yin into the restroom. "Hey, there's no need to support me. I, your eldest senior, still know the way to the restroom." Yin nudged Feng Zhao and pointed to his head. "Don't think that I'm drunk, but my mind is still clear." Feng Zhao was not at ease and followed a few steps behind. Although Yin's footsteps were a little weak, he was in the right direction and could clearly recognize the signs. Yin walked into the restroom, and someone bumped into him. Luckily, Yin had dodged quickly, or else he would have been knocked to the ground. However, the person who bumped into him had also drunk too. His entire body reeked of alcohol and carried a murderous aura. His strong physique and firm muscles gave off an oppressive aura. When he looked up, his scarlet eyes were like those of a ferocious beast, making Yin tremble. "Don't you have eyes?" the other party roared. Yin was so angry that he sobered up. It was clearly the other party who had drunk too much and bumped into him, yet the villain was complaining first. However, when encountering such a situation, Yin was still very experienced. When encountering a conflict, one would see what kind of person the other party was. If it was a soft persimmon, of course one had to pinch it. If it was a drunken retard or an unreasonable lunatic, then there was no need to argue with them. Just say a few words and hurry off. For the person before him, if you tried to reason with him, he would directly use his fists. If he didn't run, would he stay here and get beaten up? Thus, Yin didn't even go to the restroom and planned to leave immediately. However, he had drunk too much. Even if his mind was sober, his legs were still a little weak. If not for Feng Zhao coming over to support him, he would probably have fallen to the ground. Yin gave Feng Zhao a grateful glance, then his gaze drifted to the drunkard before looking toward the door, indicating, "Hurry up and run. Don't waste time talking to this retard." Feng Zhao approved of Yin's choice and supported Yin as they prepared to leave. However, even though they wanted to avoid, the other party seemed to be even angrier. His expression was gloomy, and his fists were clenched so tightly that they made cracking sounds. "What was that look you had just now? Looking down on me? Are you fucking asking for a beating?" Feng Zhao, huh? Chapter 379. Yin was in a daze when he left the restroom. He had thought that the drunken lunatic would come over to beat him up, but before he could react, the man had collapsed. "Junior, are we just going to leave him like that?" Yin was worried. Feng Zhao replied calmly, "It's fine. Someone went over to the restroom just now. It's his friend." "How did you know?" "I heard it." Yin. "All right." The others didn't notice Yin's strange behavior when they saw him return. It was about time, and someone suggested returning to the hotel. It was fine to hang out, but not too late. Professor Carter didn't restrict their private lives, but they couldn't go overboard. Otherwise, Carter would mercilessly kick them out of the project team. Yin wasn't in the mood to stay at the bar any longer. Let's go. Get a good rest when we get back. We'll have the energy to seek inspiration tomorrow." As they were leaving the bar, a police car happened to pass by. Yin's heart tightened. He glanced at Feng Zhao. Seeing that Feng Zhao didn't seem flustered, Yin thought to himself, "This junior's mental fortitude is really strong." Yin was preoccupied. When he returned to the hotel, his assistant didn't pay him much attention. Yin was always like this when he had too much to drink. Maybe he was pondering his creative ideas. After the assistant left, Yin immediately searched the internet. There was no big news about the bar, and he heaved a sigh of relief. Now that he thought about it, he felt that Feng Zhao was indeed a young man who was impulsive, but he didn't feel that Feng Zhao had done anything wrong. After all, Feng Zhao had done it to protect him. Sigh, "I will definitely take good care of Junior in the future." Previously, Yin had decided to take care of Feng Zhao for the sake of Carter and Mo Lang, but now that Feng Zhao had helped him, he was a little more sincere. The next day, when Inan woke up, the first thing he did was go online and check out the nearby news. There was still no news about the bar, and his uneasiness was finally put to rest. It seemed like it was just as Feng Zhao had said. Nothing major had happened. There was no need to worry about it. However, the smile on Inan's face froze as soon as it appeared. He saw the sports news being pushed to him. One of the articles was about yesterday's Spartacus Cup match, including the results of yesterday's heavyweight boxing match and the photos of the top 3 finishers. Heavyweight, boxing, silver medal? Still in disbelief, Inan searched for the photo of the silver medalist, Danny, and recalled the drunken lunatic he had met yesterday. Too similar. If that's true, that means, on his first day in Majo, junior brother had beaten the Spartacus Cup heavyweight boxing silver medalist. Suddenly, he felt that he couldn't bring this junior brother along. The pressure was really great. At the same time, in a private hospital. The silver medalist of the Spartacus Cup heavyweight boxing tournament, Danny, woke up from his sickbed. Waiting for him were the club manager and 2 policemen. "Danny, do you still remember what happened yesterday? Is someone trying to harm you?" The club manager had already thought of several competitors' names. Danny rubbed his swollen head blankly and shook his head. "What happened?" The club manager briefly explained what had happened the day before. Danny had lost in the finals yesterday and was in a bad mood, so he went out for a drink with his friends. Danny drank quite a bit and went to the toilet midway. His friend waited for a while and felt worried, so he went over to the toilet. He hadn't expected to see Danny lying in the toilet. When his friend went over to ask him what had happened, Danny said, "Someone hit me," and lost consciousness. When his friend heard that someone had hit Danny, he immediately thought it was a conspiracy and called the police. When he came back to his senses, he felt that something was wrong and contacted Danny's club manager. The club had suppressed the news, which was why Inan hadn't seen the news. When he was sent to the hospital, Danny had injuries on his body, but they were all from the match. Other than that, there weren't any major problems. There weren't any surveillance cameras near the bar's toilet, so no one knew what had happened. Because there hadn't been any major impact, the police couldn't call in everyone in the bar for questioning. Therefore, they waited for Danny to wake up and ask him about the situation. Competition was allowed in Majo, but it wasn't allowed for malicious competition, especially when it came to private revenge on athletes. Once it was investigated, the punishment would be severe. Such matters were especially sensitive during the Spartacus Cup, so there were 2 policemen standing guard. Even if the club manager didn't want them to interfere, it was impossible. Regarding yesterday's incident, we have some questions to ask you. We hope you can cooperate, one of the policemen said. They hoped that Danny would reflect on what had happened yesterday. If it was malicious competition and revenge, they would have to investigate heavily. But if it was a private matter, and Danny didn't want to pursue it, they wouldn't interfere. The club manager also wanted to know who had hit Danny. Although Danny had drunk too much yesterday, it shouldn't have been to the extent that he had been knocked out without a trace. After all, he was the club's ace and this year's Spartacus Cup silver medalist. The last person who had tried to kick Danny while he was drunk had been lying in the hospital for a month. Danny took the wet towel from the side and wiped his face as he recalled the details of yesterday. "Yesterday, I went to the bar to drink, then I went to the toilet. When the others saw me, they ran away. At that time, Danny had gone to the toilet and acted like a drunkard. When the people inside saw Danny, they hurriedly avoided him. After all, there wasn't just one toilet in the bar. So, there wasn't anyone else in the toilet? One of the policemen asked. Probably. What happened after that? Who did you meet? After that, I think I bumped into someone. The 2 policemen and the club manager perked up. What did he look like? I don't remember. I think he was an old man with a lot of white hair. The 2 policemen looked at each other. There were too many people with white hair, so they couldn't deduce anything. You don't remember what he looked like at all? The policeman asked. Danny shook his head. What happened after that? Think back carefully, especially the details, the policeman said. After that? I was lying on the ground. Thinking back, Danny began to doubt his life. He had been knocked out so easily yesterday? He couldn't even remember how he had been knocked out. The club manager frowned. He couldn't think of anyone who could have knocked Danny down so easily, not even the champion yesterday. However, the two policemen caught a detail in Danny's words. "Wait, you said lying? You were lying down when you were knocked out?" "I'm not finished," Danny said. "Go on, think carefully, don't miss a single detail." "Yes, he even helped me turn over." "And then?" "I think I vomited." One of the policemen nodded and said, "Yes, you vomited. Also, when your friend found you yesterday, you were lying on your side." "Yes, I remember someone helped me turn over after I fell down." The two policemen asked for more details, but Danny couldn't remember much. When he didn't take people seriously, he wouldn't try hard to remember what they looked like, whether they were drunk or not. He wouldn't waste his brain cells to remember people he didn't like. After he was knocked down and doubted his life, his memory became deeper, but it wasn't clear. The only impression he had was the flash of white hair. Moreover, the more he thought about it, the more Danny was devastated. He had lost the competition yesterday, and he was quite unhappy. He had almost won the gold medal. No one would feel good about it. But now, that bellyful of unwillingness had suddenly disappeared completely. This change was like someone who had always thought he could go against heaven and earth, only to find out that he was a loser. With such a huge psychological gap, what gold medal, what loss in the finals, what unwillingness, everything was thrown aside. At this moment, the phrase that kept repeating in Danny's mind was, "Am I really that bad?" The two policemen glanced at Danny, who was hugging his head and looking like he had suffered a heavy blow. Such a big fellow now looked a little wronged. "We roughly understand the situation. Based on what you said, Mr. Danny, the other party didn't seem to have any malicious intent. Firstly, they didn't cause you any physical harm. Secondly, they even helped you turn over to prevent you from suffocating while lying on your back. We will continue to investigate this matter. If you recall any important clues, you can contact us." As long as it wasn't a competitor's malicious retaliation, Danny's matter wasn't a big deal in Majo. Compared to the two drunkards who were smashing things on the other side of the street, Danny simply wasn't a big deal. Furthermore, this matter had been started by Danny, so it was normal for him to be beaten up. The two policemen left very quickly. The club manager looked at Danny, who was hugging his head and thinking about life, and his emotions were complicated. So, the conspiracy theory didn't hold water? Then who was the one who beat him up? That mysterious white-haired guy? While Danny was doubting his life, the person who had traumatized him was following his seniors to the competition grounds in search of inspiration. En and a few others brought Feng Zhao over to watch a tennis match. To fully experience the atmosphere of competitive sports, they didn't sit in the VIP boxes or special grandstands. Instead, they sat together with ordinary spectators. Today was the Spartacus Cup Tennis Men's Singles Gold Medal match. It was also a match that received a lot of attention. On one side was the veteran Du Moer, who was currently ranked 8th in the men's singles world rankings. He had suddenly exploded this year and hadn't entered the top 20 in the past. During this Spartacus Cup, he had exceeded his usual standards. It was as if he had turned on a cheat, consecutively defeating strong opponents in the first few rounds and charging into the gold medal match. Today was also the final match of his professional career. On the other side was the young tennis player Midasi, who hadn't dropped out of the top 3 in the world rankings in recent years. He was a handsome young fellow nicknamed the Little Prince of Tennis. Some fans also affectionately called him Little Mean. Midasi had won many championships in open tournaments and tournaments. The only thing he lacked was the Spartacus Cup gold medal. After so many tournaments, he had only won a silver medal every time. Gradually, he had gained another nickname. During Spartacus Cup competitions, he had been jokingly called Eternal Second. Of these two, one had said he would retire after this match, while the other had said he would retire if he didn't win the gold medal. Thus, the media was paying a lot of attention to this match. Taking a deep breath, Enan took in the complex mix of sweat, body odor, snacks, and perfume. "Who do you think will win?" "I can't guess," Feng Zhao replied seriously. He had watched videos of the previous matches of both sides and had analyzed their conditions today. It was really hard to say who would win. Ha, that's right. Enan laughed. You have no way of guessing when a miracle will occur, nor do you know what will happen in the next moment. I love this kind of twist, because every time a twist occurs, countless musical notes will rush into my brain. As a composer, you understand this kind of mystical feeling of having your brain filled with musical notes, right? Chapter 380. In Mahjong, cheating was a disgrace. The moment a match-fixing scandal was exposed, one would be permanently banned from Mahjong. Want to continue playing? Sure, play as you like in other continents, but Mahjong didn't welcome you. In serious cases, you might even be banned from entering the country. Many experts had made predictions about the outcome of this gold medal match, but no one could say for sure which side had a higher probability of winning. The following match also confirmed this. The gold medal match lasted 3 days. On average, they played for more than 5 hours a day. The total duration was more than 10 hours, breaking the Spartacus Cup's all-time record. This was a battle of the pinnacle that didn't involve any underhandedness. Both athletes displayed their superb competitive conditions. They competed in technique, tactics, stamina, and mental state, illustrating what a competition was. They really gave it their all. Enan sighed. When he was free, he would play tennis with his friends. Playing for half an hour was already unbearable, let alone 5 hours. Indeed, on the arena, these two are very admirable athletes, Fang Zhao said. Fans cheered their idols crazily. Even people who weren't interested in these two started to pay attention to this match. You could dislike them, but you couldn't not respect them. The media also focused their cameras on the arena. Watching this match that seemed to be burning their lives, Fang Zhao felt that these two's announcement of retirement before the match was probably true. It wasn't something the media had said out of anger. These two hadn't given themselves the option to retreat. If they'd retreated a little, they wouldn't have been able to fight to this extent. On the third day, both sides played for more than 7 hours before a victor was decided. The moment the match ended, veteran Du Moer seemed to forget his physical exhaustion as he watched the score displayed on the big screen. He roared and ran a lap around the arena, his face filled with tears of excitement. In contrast was the silent Midacy. Midacy clutched his racket and lay on the grass, his other hand covering his eyes. After a while, he lowered his arm. His reddened eyes were filled with tears as he gazed quietly at the sky. Midacy got up and hugged Du Moer, who had run over. He bowed, waved, and raised both arms to clap for himself, for his opponent, and for all the spectators watching this match. He had done his best. He had nothing to complain about this result. On the court, a sad rock song with a sense of farewell played. The lead singer's rough and slightly hoarse voice expressed his love and helplessness for this competition. At this moment, many of the audience came back to their senses. Du Moer has no regrets in retiring. After all, he has already entered a period of decline. This explosion has exhausted the last of his strength. His body probably won't be able to recover for another 5 years. But Midacy is different. Is he really going to retire? No way. Midacy is still so young. He's only 36 this year. For the people of the new era, whose lifespan had doubled, 36 years old was considered young. Right now is the peak of Midacy's career. It's the true golden age. Even if he loses this match, there will still be opportunities in the future. After all, Midacy is so young. He can play for another 40 years. Let's wait and see what Midacy's club has to say. They won't let go of a cash cow like Midacy. Even without the Spartacus Cup gold medal, Midacy has won many championships in other important competitions. With 3 consecutive days of highly anticipated gold medal matches, Midacy's popularity will only increase. Midacy's retirement aside, just this gold medal match alone was worth it to the spectators for a ticket to watch 3 days of competition. How satisfying! For the media, there were plenty of things to write about. It was even more worth it. The Prince of Tennis lost again in the finals. The Prince didn't win again today. Another brand terminates its partnership with Midacy. The number 2 loses another endorsement deal. In the competitive continent of Mersizao, all the major brands preferred to choose champions. Although Midacy had won many championships in other competitions, the Spartacus Cup was an undeniable flaw. Coupled with the media's coverage, it was like a huge black mark on him that couldn't be washed away. The media seized on this point to attack him. After the award ceremony, while everyone was discussing whether Midacy would really retire, Midacy's club released news of his retirement at a press conference. He's really retiring? I can't figure it out. I really can't figure it out. Isn't it just a Spartacus Cup gold medal? He'll just get it in the future. Midacy has only been playing for 20 years. Maybe he's been dealt a blow. After all, he's been a professional for 20 years. He's always been second in the Spartacus Cup. He's not weaker than anyone, and he fights hard. What can he do now that he's retired? Coaches can also be suppressed. After all, it's hard to get rid of the number 2 label. What happens when a number 2 is taught by a number 2? Plus he's young. Even if A-grade and above clubs hire him, they will lower his salary. It's not worth it. If that's the case, he might as well join the entertainment circle. Many athletes in Majo entered the entertainment circle after retiring. Given Midacy's looks and popularity, the chances of him joining the entertainment circle were high. Back in the hotel, In watched the highlights of the match again and wiped his tears. I want to compose a song for them. Sigh, little me, what a pity. In rather liked Midacy as a tennis player. The outcome of the match couldn't be blamed on anyone else. Everyone had tried their best. Seeing the online speculation about Midacy's retirement, Inan sought out Fang Zhao. I saw a lot of people online saying that Midacy will probably enter the entertainment circle after retiring. Junior, you understand the entertainment circle. See if you can help him. This guy is really pitiful. He lost his endorsement deal, lost his gold medal, and is being slandered online. Fang Zhao thought about it and said, I don't think he needs my help. Given his temperament, he has probably already thought of his future path. Sigh, in any case, I'll help him if I can, Inan said. He thought Fang Zhao was using it as an excuse to not help, but he suddenly remembered that Mo Lang and Carter might not allow Fang Zhao to get involved with the entertainment circle. He had wanted to say something, but he swallowed it back down. Fang Zhao glanced at Inan and explained, no matter what the media says now, I feel that his future achievements won't be bad. As for the media that are taking advantage of this opportunity to stab him in the back, they will be slapped in the face. Inan didn't take Fang Zhao's words seriously and just sighed. He was a more emotional person. When he thought about Midacy's performance on the court and the mocking comments online, he couldn't help but feel suffocated. Uncomfortable. I'll go back and compose a song to vent. Inan sighed as he left. Although Fang Zhao felt it was a pity for Midacy, he didn't think that Midacy had made an impulsive decision. He knew very well what he was doing. That night, Midacy's club held a press conference regarding his retirement. The image of Midacy crying on the court had already dominated many news headlines. Fans were heartbroken. Now, both fans and haters were paying close attention to this live broadcast of his retirement press conference. Many authoritative sports media could be seen on the screen. On the screen, Midacy's eyes were still red. As he spoke, he choked up a little. After adjusting his emotions, he continued speaking. Looking back at my 20 years as a professional athlete, I actually don't have much resentment. I'm more grateful. In these 20 years, I never dared slack off. Even today, I can still stand here with my head held high and chest out. With my head lowered, I have firm steps, and my head raised, I have a clear direction. In these 20 years, I've experienced the charm of competition, but I've also experienced the cruelty of competition. Retirement wasn't an impulsive decision, nor was retirement a compromise. I have my own life and my own responsibilities. After retirement, no matter where I am, be it in the past, present, or future, I will never be negative. Thank you to the club and fans for your help and support these 20 years. Thank you to my coach. I'm very sorry that I wasn't able to help him win a Spartacus Cup championship. Beside him, the coach's eyes were red, and he sighed in his heart. During his speech, he told everyone about how difficult it had been for Midas. I still remember 20 years ago, that 16-year-old youngster came over alone with just a bag. He played in the club for 20 years. At the start of this year, he told me, "Coach, this is my last chance." He was under a lot of pressure. I don't know what he had been through, but he had always been very hardworking. In terms of ability, he didn't lose to any champion. Back then, Midas had been so dazzling. In his first year, he had charged into the top of the leaderboards. His handsome appearance and formidable ability had quickly made him one of the most popular sports stars in Majo. All sorts of endorsements had swarmed him. After that, he had participated in all sorts of tournaments and open tournaments. He had also won many championships, except for the Spartacus Cup, where he had always placed second. Even when he had been assigned to the death group, he had fought his way out and ended up lying on the silver medalist seat. It could be said that he had defeated every champion many times, but he just hadn't been able to win the Spartacus Cup gold medal. Gradually, the number of brands that sought him out to endorse also decreased. There were innumerable people who made sarcastic remarks or made up jokes. As for whether those words were stabbing Midas's heart, they didn't care. As long as there was traffic, attention, and he could vent, that was enough. Just like now, in the comments section of the live broadcast of his retirement press conference, fans and haters had already exchanged several rounds of gunfire. Fans had watched Midas's retirement speech and the video clips, and they had long been sobbing uncontrollably. They felt so heartbroken that they couldn't breathe. They were also endlessly worried about Midas's life after retirement. And the haters were still jabbing where it hurt. He doesn't allow others to say that he doesn't have the ability? Who is to blame if he can't win? That's why I say this is fate. Who is to blame if he can't take it anymore and retires now? If he doesn't have a strong heart in the arena and can't take the pressure from the outside world, why would he come to the arena? After he retires, he should settle down in the entertainment industry and save up some money to support himself in old age. For people from Majo, only those who weren't doing well or had retired would go to the entertainment industry. In Majo, the most popular stars were undoubtedly the competition stars. What popular movie kings and actresses couldn't compare to the current popularity of the competition stars? At the press conference, the media started asking questions after Midas and the others had finished speaking. What are your plans after retirement? Will you enter the entertainment industry? What kind of work will you be doing? Will it be related to tennis? Midas replied, "I should move from the arena to behind the scenes." When the reporters heard this, they got excited. His words had a lot of content. Are you planning to become your own boss and start a club? A reporter asked. Midas smiled sheepishly. I don't think I've told everyone what my surname is. The media? Even Midas's coach looked over suspiciously. Midas had taught Midas for so many years, but he had never mentioned his surname. It wasn't on his identification card, so no one had mentioned it. For many people, surnames weren't that important. Midas coughed lightly. My full name is Midas Mars. The venue suddenly went silent. The comments section of the live broadcast room went silent. Fans, haters, the media, and everyone in the club. Say that again. What's your surname? The surname Mars was only used by that tyrannical family in Majo. The coach's mouth was wide open as he froze on the spot. His eyes were dazed and his face was full of disbelief. The media, which had been getting high on their mocking of Midas, trembled in fear. Chapter 381. What had happened to Midas had shocked the masses of online viewers. It was as if they had always thought that the other party was a pitiful child, only to find out that the other party's family had a mine. The other party's family really had a mine. Not only did they have a mine, but they also had a throne. Although there was no longer an emperor, the Mars family's status in Mazhou was transcendent, and their nature was more or less the same. Fans who had been shedding tears because of Midas's regretful retirement forcefully held back their tears. Meanwhile, those haters who had publicly flamed Midas were racking their brains to think of ways to take back their words. A certain editor, who had been writing the undeniable facts behind the failure of the Eternal Number 2, nimbly deleted the almost finished draft with one click, leaving no trace behind. Then he started writing the years the tennis prince struggled while hiding his surname. Many people were complaining that Midas had cheated others, but a portion of people who understood the Mars family could empathize with Midas's actions. Not everyone with the Mars family's bloodline could have this surname. Midas had not written his surname on his identity card in the past. Perhaps it had not been intentional, but he had not been able to have this surname at the time. That was indeed the case. Midas had only obtained the surname Mars later on, but he had not updated his identity information. However, the family had already acknowledged that after his retirement, he would start a new life with a new identity. His identity card would also carry the glorious family surname Mars. The press conference was still ongoing. Midas did not become complacent because of this surname. He expressed that this surname was both an honor and an even greater responsibility. In the past, it had been Midas as a tennis player. After today, it would be Midas as a member of the Mars family. Together with the other members of the Mars family, he would make Mazhou a better place. At the same time, elsewhere in Mazhou, at the scene of a certain commercial product launch, an elderly member of the Mars family was asked about Midas by a reporter. He laughed and said, "What we examine is ability, temperament, character, and other overall qualities." They had rather strict requirements for their descendants. Even though Midas had not been able to obtain the Spartacus Cup trophy, he had already proven himself and passed the family's test. While others did not know what the Mars family elder was thinking, Zero's father, who was far away in Liezhou, felt that this bunch of people were stabbing at his heart with every word. They were really poking where it hurt. He looked at other people's children and then at his own idiot who did not have any self-awareness. He was panicking. If he didn't work hard, he would be a burden to the family. Recently, Zero was eager to fry walnuts. Because of the sudden walnut craze, Zero was tempted again. He sent 2 walnuts to the old man. The old man, who was biased to begin with, was happy and did not stop Zero from frying walnuts. He only told Zero to pay a certain amount of tax. In this aspect, the old master was very strict. Zero also knew the old master's bottom line. After probing the old master's attitude, Zero rubbed his fists and prepared to go all out. However, just as Zero was plotting with his agent, the incident with Midas in Mazhou had aroused the vigilance of Zero's father. He could not allow this idiot to continue acting so impudently. Zero's father couldn't really keep an eye on him all the time, and he didn't have the time either. The last time he had brought Zero back to give him a beating, the old master had called him over for a chat. How infuriating! What was he supposed to do with that idiot? Unable to excel in literature or martial arts, lacking in IQ or talent, Zero's father decided to kick this idiot out to help the poor. Midas's retirement press conference had not only caused a storm in the Mazhou region, but it had also affected other continents. Midas himself had no idea. After the press conference, he had disappeared. Some people said that he had participated in the family business, while others joked that Midas was undergoing training to inherit the throne. However, everyone's various guesses were merely joking. Because everyone knew that there were many people in the Ma-Ursi clan and that there wasn't just one Midas. Inheriting the throne was just a joke. Of course, it was also because of the Ma-Ursi surname that no matter how people joked, they wouldn't have any ill intentions. And this actually didn't have much of an impact on people from other continents. At the time, they might be a little interested, but they would just treat it as news and throw it to the back of their minds. For example, Feng Zhao's team had missions on them. They didn't have that much time to join the Mazhou natives in watching the commotion. In the following days, they roamed all over the place, collecting materials, composing, and holding team meetings every 2 or 3 days. The team had at least half a year to compose an album with the theme of the Spartacus Cup. Now, the most important thing was to take advantage of the Spartacus Cup to experience the atmosphere and the charm and inner spirit of sports. Today, Feng Zhao followed a few seniors out to collect materials. After dinner, the others either returned to the hotel or had other activities. Feng Zhao didn't follow them out. He went to a small park not far from the hotel for a run. The hotel gym was crowded and noisy. Feng Zhao preferred to run in places like the park. However, the park was only quieter at night, so Feng Zhao chose this time to run. There were many hotels nearby, and there were more foreigners. Few people came to the park to run at night. Everyone was used to the gym and didn't like running outside. Furthermore, it was already late, so non-locals were even less willing to run in the park. Feng Zhao ran 2 laps in the park and bumped into someone. The other party looked very young, like a student who hadn't graduated yet. He was wearing a retro punk-style hoodie and ran over to strike up a conversation. "Hey bro, running? How many laps have you done?" the person asked. 2 laps, Feng Zhao replied. "I just started running. There are so few people out to run at this time. Are you a professional athlete?" "I'm not either, but I will be soon. Right now, I'm just a nobody, not worth mentioning. Just passerby A. What about you?" Passerby B. "Ha, bro, you are so funny," the other party guffawed. Feng Zhao. "It's so boring to be alone. Let me run with you," the other party said. "No need." "You're welcome." "Really? All right then, you run first." After Feng Zhao had run for a while, the other party stretched his limbs and started running. He followed behind Feng Zhao, keeping a certain distance from him. He planned to maintain this distance. Because he was in a good mood, he even hummed a little tune. If his coach heard him, he would surely start scolding him, but the coach wasn't around. Today was his first time in Majo. He had been headhunted by a certain club manager. In the past, he hadn't understood competitive sports. Other than his family's business, he hadn't paid much attention to anything else. This time, in order to start a new life in Majo and become a professional athlete, he had done some research on some of Majo's famous athletes. The person in front of him seemed a little familiar. Perhaps it was because the lighting was dim and he couldn't see clearly, but he was sure he wasn't on the list of names he had seen in the documents. If he couldn't remember, then he wouldn't think about it. In any case, he was definitely not an important person. He had just said to Feng Zhao that he was a nobody, not worth mentioning, but that was just verbal modesty. In fact, he had high aspirations. His hometown had many mountains, so the tourism industry was more developed. Every day, he would go up and down the mountains to fetch tourists and help run errands. Practically every day was spent running. The locals were all good runners, and he was the best runner in his town. Today, he had met a few of his colleagues at the club and felt that their abilities were only so-so. No wonder the manager had gone all the way to other continents to headhunt people. The legends of the Marzu sports continent were indeed exaggerated. At this moment, he just couldn't sleep. He hadn't adjusted to the time difference, so he simply didn't feel sleepy. He also wasn't used to the gym, so he had searched for a map and left his apartment to run here. In any case, there wasn't anyone else running in the park. There was only one person in front of him, so he would accompany him and run for a while as a warm-up. After the other party left, he would continue running for another hour and return to the club. Then he would run for another 2 hours. 1 hour was too short. It was no different from a warm-up, or perhaps 3 hours? Anyway, he had nothing to do. He might as well expend some energy. Perhaps he could fall asleep when he was tired. Chapter 382. There was a person following behind him. Feng Zhao paid attention to him for a bit before putting him aside. He didn't sense any threat from the other party, so he let him run. Late at night, the surrounding towering hotels were still brightly lit, but the number of people in this small park was dwindling. Only 2 figures were left running. Fang Zhao ran laps in the park. This sort of quiet environment made it easier for him to think. During his time in Immerse, he had gained a lot. Not only had he gained a better understanding of teamwork and gained a lot of experience, but he had also learned a lot of composing techniques from others. The sports arenas of Immerse were more intense than those of other continents, especially the kind of atmosphere that couldn't be experienced in other continents. For his team members, it was a precious source of inspiration. It was an experience that video recorders couldn't give them. Fang Zhao didn't know how the others were progressing, but he already had a rough idea. He recalled the scenes from the arenas he had seen. Even though he was just sitting in the stands, he could feel the throbbing of his heart and sweat, and the joy of advancing. His stamina and fighting spirit burned wantonly, emitting a dazzling radiance. Countless sounds erupted from the arena, brushing past each other. Intense, soothing, high-pitched, low-pitched, a series of tunes appeared in his mind. The tempo of the tunes varied between fast and slow. His feet also followed the tune floating in his mind, running to the beat. Fang Zhao didn't have a specific training goal when he came here to run. He was more casual. When inspiration was active, his body followed it. However, Fang Zhao was at his wit's end, but the person following behind him was at a loss. At the start, that fellow was humming a tune and studying Fang Zhao's running techniques. Although he wasn't considered a true professional athlete and didn't know or care about the long-distance running techniques in professional competitions, after signing with the club, he had received a short period of professional guidance. After observing Fang Zhao's running style, that person came to this conclusion. Tisk, one look and I can tell he's an amateur. After 3 laps, he saw Fang Zhao in front of him start to pick up speed. His somewhat sluggish state of mind perked up, and he felt a little excited. Speeding up? Simulating a sprint? With this thought, he also picked up speed. The experience of accompanying a passerby while running wasn't bad. After a while, he felt something was amiss. Wasn't this sprint simulation a little too long? After another few laps, Fang Zhao slowed down. That person secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He's finally done. Is he taking a break before leaving? However, Fang Zhao slowed down for a few laps before picking up speed again. The man? Again? He watched as Fang Zhao ran lap after lap, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. Sometimes he sped up for a long time, and sometimes it was just a short half a lap. Are you kidding me? He really wanted to stop the person in front of him and tell him, brother, this is not how you run. You won't be able to run for long like this. However, 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed, and Fang Zhao continued. For Fang Zhao, who had a symphony orchestra living in his brain, this was how his brain worked. A piece of music passed. This paragraph is not bad, but there are still some places that need to be changed. After a while, he went through the revised version in his mind again and again and again, and there were a few minor changes. He went through the second revision twice in his mind. All right, the latter part. Something's wrong here. Modify. Fix again. N times, as a result, his pace was sometimes fast and sometimes slow down. Sometimes he sped up for a long time, and sometimes he slowed down right after. At the same time, the mood of the person running behind him went like this, feeling pleased, curious, speechless, bad premonition, feeling very pressured, body starting to feel tired, final stubbornness, mania, the person in front was still running, freaking speeding up again, and slowing down again, There was no logic to this running at all. What was he trying to do? Was he trying to run away? Later on, the energy to be mad was gone. It felt like his heart and lungs were about to go on strike. His heart rate was rising, and he was exhausted. Every muscle in his body was protesting. I can't run anymore. I can't move anymore. My legs are not listening to me. Seeing that he was being left further and further behind, the person behind finally gave up. He moved to a bench at the side and sat down with heavy steps. His eyes were filled with endless confusion, and he was in a trance. He thought that he was blessed by the heavens and that he had a strong reserve of stamina from running all year round, but at this moment he was reduced to dregs. He was like a stone statue, his dull gaze following Fang Zhao's figure. He watched as Fang Zhao continued to run. One lap, and another lap. At this moment, he suddenly understood what the manager who had signed him had said: heavy responsibilities and a long way to go. Sure enough, it was as everyone had said. It wasn't that easy to squeeze into Immerse's top athletic circles. There were so many talented athletes, but how many of them could actually squeeze into the top ranks? No matter how strong you are, there will always be someone stronger. There will always be someone stronger, and there will always be someone higher. Just a night run and the passerby he had met already possessed monstrous stamina. And this was someone who wasn't even in the top ranks. Then in Immerse's top athletic circles, weren't those godlike professional athletes geniuses among geniuses, monsters among monsters? Sitting on the bench in the small park, Fang Zhao adopted a serious attitude for the first time, as if he were on a pilgrimage as he examined this path of a professional athlete. Time passed slowly, and Fang Zhao's pace finally slowed down until he came to a stop. Watching the hazy horizon, Fang Zhao took a deep breath. Listening to the sound of seeds bursting out of the soil and the rustling of tree branches in the wind, the world was so beautiful that it was mesmerizing. At this time, there were only 2 people in the small park. Besides Fang Zhao, there was also that passerby sitting on the bench by the grass. Fang Zhao knew this passerby. Previously, he had been jogging for a while, but then he stopped and sat on the bench to rest. He didn't leave and just sat there like that, like a lost little cub. Kids these days. Fang Zhao thought to himself and smiled at the passerby. The lost little cub sitting on the bench came back to his senses. His expression changed, and he looked at Fang Zhao as if he was looking at some frightening creature. After hesitating for a bit, he still said, "You? How do you feel now?" "Not bad," Fang Zhao replied. The lost little cub felt like his chest had been stabbed once again, and his vision slowly collapsed. How was this not bad? Fang Zhao looked like he was in high spirits. Fang Zhao still wanted to show some concern for this little friend. "No, I don't want to talk to you now." The other party got up and ran off. At a certain club, the manager stood at the entrance with an ashen face. The newly signed seedling was a thorn in the side. This kind of extremely talented seedling had a stronger foundation than many people. After training for 2 years, next year he might be able to let him participate in the competition. Such a good seedling, he planned to train him as a secret weapon. He already knew that this newcomer had beaten everyone else in the club's small competition yesterday. Geniuses had their own pride. The more this was so, the more they needed to be polished. Before that, this seedling with potential couldn't be cocky. Still saying that he could go out for a night run and run the whole night? Bullshit. The manager was pondering how he was going to reprimand him later when that person wearing a retro punk-style hoodie appeared in his line of sight. However, before he could say anything, the other party seemed to use all his strength to sigh and say, "The continent of competition indeed lives up to its reputation. Crouching tiger, hidden dragon." The manager, who had wanted to severely reprimand him today, in one night, how did this new seedling who looked down on others have such a deep understanding? "I feel that my spirit has suffered an indelible blow." "I finally understand what you said, manager." "You are right," the newcomer said excitedly. "Manager." "What did I say?" Although he couldn't remember what he had said, the manager looked at the newly signed young talent who had suffered a heavy blow. He gave his affirmation. "You really are a very strong and talented athlete." The newcomer was already on the verge of tears. "No. Manager, you don't have to console me. I know I am actually very weak. Very weak." "Manager, have you ever thought about the feelings of those people you beat on the first day?" At this time, the agitated newcomer greeted the manager and called his family. "Majo is too scary. It really deserves to be called the continent of competition. Yes, I used to think that Majo people were bragging, but after experiencing it for myself, I realized that I was still too young. I just couldn't sleep and went out for a night run. Guess what I met? That's simply not human, that's a monster. Do you know what a monster is? It's the kind that you don't want to meet a second time. Monster. I can't even muster up the mood to challenge him. The club manager beside him. Nonsense. How can our Majo be so scary? Don't demonize us Majo people. However, which world champion did this kid meet last night? There was really nothing to say about his luck. However, the little beast cub simply didn't notice the manager's expression. He still had a lot of thoughts he wanted to share with his family. He had originally thought that he was already outstanding enough. No matter what kind of formidable person he faced, even if he lost, he wouldn't lose too badly. However, the reality was too horrible to look at. Now that he closed his eyes, all that appeared in his mind was that back view. No, that was no longer a back view. That was a psychological shadow. A psychological shadow imprinted at the starting line before his professional career had even officially begun. Chapter 383. The lost little cub felt that he had found his niche. The stamina he was so proud of had been overshadowed, and his previous arrogance had been wiped clean. His understanding of Majo's competitive scene was limited to verbal descriptions and limited documents. He didn't know what was reasonable. He had heard people brag too much in the past, but now he felt that it was normal. Wasn't he just a passerby? There would surely be even more amazing passerby like him. Perhaps he was low-key and wasn't used to competitions. Reality was indeed the most painful. Fang Zhao, who had delivered the blow, had no idea that while the symphony orchestra in his head was playing on a magnificent scale, someone was trembling in the evening wind. After running in the park, Fang Zhao returned to the hotel to wash up. He didn't catch up on sleep. Even though he hadn't slept the entire night, he was still in high spirits. There were too many inspirations in his head, and the music scores were more or less complete. All he had to do now was write them out. By the time he finished arranging the music scores, the sun was already shining brightly outside. Nanfeng saw Fang Zhao come out and hurriedly got someone to send over breakfast. The hotel staff saw Nanfeng order a table full of food and naturally thought it was for multiple people, so they specially prepared extra cutlery. Nanfeng didn't explain and just smiled silently. Nanfeng and the others were already used to the boss's huge appetite. Fang Zhao had disappeared for the entire night and locked himself in his room after returning. They had only come out now. They had asked casually and received a night run in reply. All right, if the boss said night run, then so be it, even though Nanfeng and the others didn't believe him. Fang Zhao could naturally tell that Nanfeng and the others didn't believe him, but he didn't want to explain. He was very hungry after running the entire night. While eating, Fang Zhao received a message from Will. Will was going to an art exhibition and wanted to bring Curly Hair along. During this period, Will had been nurturing Curly Hair's inspiration and wasn't willing to leave or waste time. If his father hadn't personally called him to attend, Will wouldn't have been willing to leave the campus. He didn't even have time to study his own work. Where would he find the energy to study other people's work? Furthermore, he didn't like that person's work. After listening to what Will had to say, Fang Zhao thought for a bit and turned on the video call to check on Curly Hair's condition. This little thing could actually understand a lot of words. When Will had called him, Curly Hair had been at the side, wagging his tail. One look and Fang Zhao could tell that Curly Hair wanted to go out and have fun. Fang Zhao thought about it and asked, "Can I bring a dog to the art exhibition?" Will explained, "It's a private exhibition, organized by a friend of my father's." This time, it's being held in his manor. Only a portion of the circle has been invited, and it's not open to the public. I've asked around, and quite a few people brought their dogs there. It was rare for the quiet Will to explain so much. Since that was the case, Fang Zhao did not reject it. Will also had bodyguards when he went out, and his safety was very good. As for Curly Hair, this dog was always engrossed in gaming at home. Going out for a run was also good. All right, let it interact more with its own kind and make some new friends, Fang Zhao said. After ending the call with Fang Zhao, Will immediately prepared to leave. Previously, This was what Will's father had said to Will. I know you don't like the paintings there, so I won't make you stay too long. Just go over and express your gratitude. I'm busy, so you can go on my behalf this time. Of course, don't leave too early to attend the art exhibition. Stay at least an hour before you leave. Give them some face, got it? An hour was still acceptable to Will. Since his father had requested it, Will agreed. However, he wanted to bring the dog along. Will's father knew that he could not persuade Will on this matter, so he said helplessly, "All right, as long as you get the dog's owner's permission, it's up to you. In any case, you just have to promise to attend." When Will's father was on the phone, a certain relative beside him had also heard it. He turned around and started ranting to his friend. "Did you know? My nephew, the one who got into Huang Art's 12 tones advanced class. I don't know if he's crazy from painting, but he's actually raising a dog." Raising a dog? The kind that smells if you don't wash it for a day, scratches the floor, picks up flower pots, and barks at the slightest movement. What a devil! After ranting about dogs, he continued, "That nephew of mine must have been kicked by a dog. He actually said he was going to bring a dog to the art exhibition today. Oh my God, I can't imagine it. What a disaster. To actually have to be in the same space as a dog for an art exhibition. There's a separate area for dogs? That won't do either. Just the thought of so many dogs nearby gives me goosebumps." Will did not know that a relative was spreading the news that he had been kicked in the head by a dog. Will was very happy after obtaining Fang Zhao's permission. He was no longer so averse to attending this private art exhibition that he did not like. He felt that this could be a new way to nurture his inspiration. He was rather looking forward to bringing a dog to the art exhibition. However, Will's good mood did not last long. When he brought the dog to the manor where the art exhibition was being held, he found out that dogs were not allowed into the exhibition hall. Will immediately wanted to ask the driver to turn the car around, but in the end he still got off the car with a sullen expression. Will personally carried Curly Hair off the car. When someone wanted to pet him, Will did not allow it. Curly Hair was his source of inspiration. He could not allow it to be damaged. "Wow. This is that dog that's worth 200 million? One of Will's friends hurried over. He did not raise dogs, but he had paid attention to pet magazines and knew about Curly Hair, this dog that was worth 200 million. "How did this dog end up in your hands?" his friend asked. "I borrowed it," Will said. "You really can't bring dogs into the exhibition hall?" "Of course not. You can bring dogs around the manor, but you can't bring dogs into the exhibition hall. You're still carrying this dog? Are you raising a dog, not an ancestor?" "Although I don't raise dogs, I also know that dogs can't be so pampered. They have to exercise more. Dogs need to exercise." That friend looked at Curly Hair enviously as he spoke. "Can I hug him?" He really wanted to hug a dog that was worth 200 million and bask in some riches. Will rejected mercilessly. "All right, I won't give it to you then. Oh, let me bring you to the place where the dog is kept." That friend eagerly led the way. Along the way, when Will was not paying attention, he petted Curly Hair, his expression rippling. When they arrived at the place where the dog was kept, Will saw other people bringing dogs over. A few dog owners were gathered together and debating whether strong and long legs were more attractive or short and soft little paws were more attractive. Will had no interest in this. He felt that long legs or fat paws were all fleeting clouds. He was only interested in one. The designated area was like a large warehouse. There were many large cages inside, and there were already 7 or 8 dogs. 2 of them were especially lively, raising their heads and howling at the other dogs and people. They were very spirited. Without waiting for Will to consider further, Curly Hair pulled the leash and walked in. When he arrived in front of an empty cage, he raised his little paws and walked in. That friend was delighted when he saw this. "Not bad. This cage has just been cleaned. It's the cleanest. The lighting here is also good." Will looked at the place where the dog was kept and then looked at the cage that Curly Hair had entered. The cages were all very large. It was very spacious for a large dog to jump around inside. The facilities were also very complete. There was no need to worry about the dog starving or thirsty here. What worried Will was that next to Curly Hair's cage was a large, round dog. It was one of the most active dogs here. It was already a large dog, and its fluffy fur made it look even more sturdy. In comparison, Curly Hair seemed like a pocket-sized dog, helpless and pitiful. Will looked at Curly Hair lying quietly on the soft padding in the cage and could only sigh helplessly. If I had known, I wouldn't have come to the art exhibition. Will decided that he would bring the dog away after an hour. He still had to seize the time to cultivate inspiration with little Curly Hair. Don't worry. The management here is pretty good. They are fed natural dog food produced in Muzhou. It's not chemically synthesized and has no preservatives. It's very expensive, and the dog eats it better than me, a dog owner said to Will. It's true. There are even cameras over there. There are people in charge of watching this place. Don't worry about losing your dog. Any dog here is worth millions, especially the one you brought. It's worth 200 million. Shouldn't we keep a closer eye on it? Another person said. As he spoke, he pointed out the surveillance cameras to Will. No one noticed that Curly Hair, who had been lying quietly in the dog cage, twitched his ears and raised his head to look in the direction of the surveillance cameras before lying back down again. After settling Curly Hair down and registering, Will and his friends left. He turned back and looked inside. Compared to those majestic dogs, Curly Hair was so small and so obedient. Less than 5 minutes after leaving the dog area, Will came over again. He was worried that Curly Hair wouldn't get used to the dog food here, so he specially brought the canned dog food that Curly Hair usually ate. As soon as he entered, Will found that the settlement had become much quieter. The noisy barking had stopped, and he looked at the 2 big dogs that were barking loudly before. They were now curled up in the corner of the cage, whimpering softly, and their eyes were still looking over. Will didn't mind. His understanding of dogs was still limited. He just felt that this place had become much quieter and didn't feel that anything was out of the ordinary. After putting down the canned food, Will checked Curly Hair's condition. He didn't discover anything wrong with Curly Hair, so he reluctantly left. The exhibition hall was about to start, and he had to hurry over. After Will left, the place became quiet again. Only the sound of Curly Hair eating the canned food could be heard. The large dog next door caught a whiff of the aroma and took 2 tentative steps over. Curly Hair raised his head from his bowl and bared his teeth in that direction. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.